Hignett on the cameras, and welcome to Silverstone. Cam, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, I need no introduction because I'm in here like the old furniture, but yes, here at Silverstone for round 2 of the WEC Series Season 6, Hypercars and GT's qualification is underway. Great to have you here, Gobby, as well. 45 minutes up at Silverstone. Why are you not out there?
Yeah, not time zone issues. I just happen to have had the day off, and Mr. Rondinella has had a bit of a sore throat, aka he's a bit too lazy to do the comms for today. So I decided, you know what, I'm off. I'll step in. I miss the comms. I miss racing, Octane Online Racing as well. Hopefully, I'll be back for April when the time zones go back to a more normal time. But for now, I will be back commentating for at least one race. I'm excited for this one. I love Silverstone. Obviously, the 5.9 kilometer circuit, really iconic in the world of motor racing, especially with corners such as Maggots and Beckett's, and with it being the birthplace of F1, this should be a really entertaining race.
Yep, 18 corners, many of them high speed as well, which is going to suit these hypercars. But the GTs are still pretty quick around here in their own spots, looking at high 59, 50, like 1 minute 50s for the GTs. And I imagine some mid 40s for the hypercars as well. Obviously, qualification is all kind of private right now. You're basically in your own session. You don't see any other cars as you're circulating along. And we won't have too much longer. Only 5 more minutes for everyone to get their lap times in. Plenty of time to get some decent bankers and some hopefully decent laps as well.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the I'm all out on track on my own qualifying. That's one thing I do like about our current ACC series is that there is a bit of strategy behind qualifying. You know, when you're in traffic where you have to build yourself a gap, especially if you know the guy in front of you, let's say, is a lot slower than you, but they're also on a lap. They're not obliged to move out the way for you. You're the one that has to make the gap to make sure you get a good lap in. And this, it's more like, yeah, you're all on your track, so there's not much of a strategy factor behind it, if that's the correct way to see it. But hopefully in the future, I'm praying that we will change that. But for now, these drivers are going to be on track, a bit more relaxed. Obviously, they're going to want to drive as fast as they can, as currently P1 in LMGT3 is Tuck Bromo, which, for those of you who don't know, is actually Admiral name. There's a bit of lore behind that name, but if you guys were wondering who this was, that is our good old name. So not a surprise to see him in P1. Currently in P1 for hypercars as well is Eamon Ryan, another good friend of names. Both of them right now currently leading their class, but there's still 5.5 minutes. No, not 5.5 minutes. About 6 minutes of qualifying left. Apologies for that. So let's see what these guys can do.
Yeah, it should be very interesting. And unfortunately, Mr. Naim was caught out and kind of not sure if he actually ended up finishing, but had got himself in a fairly significant accident last week at Paul Ricard due to a stationary Alpine, like we can see here, but not in the form of Eamon Ryan. Unfortunately, that took Mr. Top Bromo, Mr. Admiral Naim, out of the race. But he had pretty much the pace to win in the GT category, but in it going to Mr. Shady Samuel, who won the GT honours for last week. And this man, Eamon Ryan, did win in hypercar as well, and does prove to be a very, very fast operator in the hypercars. Another one to watch out is Stephen Ty, as we can see here on screen. I believe it did win last night in my split yellow in an Audi at Alton Park. Quite different machinery, but the Porsche is quite a scary vehicle, so it does share the similarities in terms of the Audi on that factor. But it should be one to watch. Max Rico up there as well. And it should be interesting to see where Patrick Johnston is. He was another one fighting for victory last week at Paul Ricard in the hypercars.
Talking about scary cars to drive, I do not know how Ryan is driving that Alpine. That thing just feels like an absolute death trap. I've driven it once at Imola and then never again. I'll go back to the BMW, thank you very much. That car just felt a lot more comfortable for me. Another fantastic car to drive here is the Cadillac, as we see Patrick Johnston with the peppy livery, getting a bit squirmy there at Brooklands. But he's keeping it on track so far, has not spun out, just pushing the limits there as he goes around the final corner. wondering what time he's going to get. We do not have a time delta. At least I cannot see one with my own eyes at the moment. He has not managed to improve, so for now he'll be stuck on P5 unless he can improve this lap.
Yep, just over 2 minutes left as well, so more than enough for a few more laps. We will say, you know, we do have our kind of criticisms of the solo qualification, but, you know, in this format, it does, you know, literally you have no excuse to get your time done. You've got everything in the world. You've got no traffic to worry about, no distractions. So it does kind of maybe fall into a little bit more pressure. But we're seeing here Benjamin Curtis, aka Diaballs, on track as well. In I believe, did you do the Fanatic livery for this one? I remember you doing one for ACC for him.
No, I've never made a livery for LMU. I know Ben Curtis is a big Fanatic fan. I did make the one on his Ford, but no, not on this one. And it's funny seeing him drive the Porsche. Obviously, the Porsche in LMU compared to the Porsche in ACC feel like two completely different cars, and it is a very strong car in LMU, unlike the Ford, which it could get a bit of love, you know. I'm a bit of a Ford enjoyer, and seeing it struggle in LMU breaks my heart a little bit, but it's okay, it's okay. We've had our days in the Ford back in ACC, although it was not exactly accurate to what it is in real life, but no, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how things go. I believe there is a mention of a you know, updated BOP, which I feel like the GTs kind of need just as much as the hypercars. As I mentioned, having recently kind of returned to the foray of sim racing, I've been driving the Lexus in ACC as well as in LMU, and I will say it's a lot better in ACC, a lot more competitive at the very least. But yeah, it should be interesting to see how things go on board. Watching now, Ben Vintner in the BMW, I believe, finished 3rd place last night at Alton Park in the Aston Martin. A very much a BMW man, but does dabble in a bit of Aston Martin machinery, but insofar in LMU does love the BMW hypercar, like yourself as well. And I did enjoy it as well when I ran it. I find it does like a lockup, does like a little lockup here and there, which is okay on the fronts, but it can surprise you a little bit when it comes to the rear. But we got Dan Madden as well with his excellent livery, I believe, painted by his brother Matt Madden. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that account, Dan, but it does look very fetching. We're livery lovers out here, me and Tim, so big thumbs up from me. What about you?
I definitely agree. The Pidgey boys have definitely stepped up their livery making skills since they've formed their teams. I think it was mid last year, if I'm correct. I think they formed mid last year or early last year. I know this team itself is a very, very recent addition to Octane Online Racing, and they started as a bunch of academy drivers, and it's just fantastic seeing them just improve every time we see them drive, and seeing them get faster and faster, learning how to drive with the top of the top in OOR, and they're definitely starting to make a show for themselves. And yeah, definitely a fantastic livery here coming from the Maddens, and hopefully we'll see them have a good result here.
Shay Samuel, P2 in GT. Will he get enough to cross the line? I don't think he's improved enough to displace top Mr. Amaral 9. I'm going to switch between Top Brummer and Amaral 9 all night, but unfortunately he is going to finish P2 behind Mr. 9 on the GT side, only by a 10th or so. Iman Ryan still holding pole position by 3/10 over Max Rika in the hypercars as well, so that is looking pretty safe here. So we look at Callum Lloyd in the Toyota hypercar. That's very wide. That's very much on the grass. You're not really going to be gaining much out there. Looks like maybe potentially Harry Lawrence and Nathan Monks in the hypercars are potentially going to be starting at the back or not electing to set a time. So carve their way through the hypercar field as we see how Callum, I think, is going to be the last car to set a time here before we go into the race. Will be 45 minutes of the race, and to be honest, this qualification is probably going to get undone in the first couple of seconds.
Yeah, we will see. We will see. I think in LMU, if I remember correctly, the start is not, or is it at Cops Corner? I don't remember. I thought they used the F1 starting lane in LMU. I could be wrong.
They're raced here.
I've never raced here on LMU.
I think
I know in
we
iRacing they use the F1 start finish straight. I know these are the F1 start finish straight pit buildings, if I remember correctly. These look like the F1
No,
start finish straight buildings.
these are the old ones. We're at Cops, so it's going to be like
Oh, we're
ACC.
tops. Oh yeah, right. Okay, well, thank you
Yeah.
for correcting me.
So
Yeah,
we got the
are
same
starting
pit
now.
lane entry, and I do remember from the last race from LMU season, a lot of people died at that pit entry, like they do in ACC. So, yeah, all familiar in terms of starting and pits.
I died there. Our last ACC Enduro. I remember that. I'm not very fond of the pit entry. I may have picked my brake marker a bit too late and just messed it up into the pit wall. But it's okay, as we now have our grid slowly starting to line up. Final setup changes here. Now I'm not sure how long these guys have to do their setups. I know in dailies you have like 40 seconds, so it's a bit of a rush to get set up, and you have to change your
10
tires.
seconds. I think we only got 60 seconds. Looking at the timer at the very top of the screen, so I hope everyone hits start dry. There's a lot of people still in the pits potentially. I'm not too sure if that's correct or wrong, or whether it's a visual indication, but we shall see. I guess we'll see. I'm not too sure.
Hopefully, they've got plenty of time there to get their car setups. You know, mechanics doing split-second changes to the cars. I'd like to say virtual mechanics, but hopefully these guys will start to get lined up.
There we go. Everyone's starting to appear.
I think since the last time we watched LMU, now they do have staggered starts between classes, so the GT3s and the hypercars should have a bit of a gap between each other now. On race start, I remember that being a bit of an issue back in the days, where both classes would basically be stuck up next to each other, and on the race starts, funnily enough, the hypercars on slow corners are actually a bit worse than the GT3s. They don't really like the slow stuff too much, so on some particular tracks that would cause some issues, especially on race starts. But yeah, as you can see, the two classes do seem to be forming a bit of a gap. I do not see the rest of the GT3s there. That seemed to be very small amount. Probably visuals, yeah.
There's a lot of cars to render. It looks like we got potentially upwards of I think 44 cars potentially out there. So it's a lot on the Mr. Ben Hickman's PC, but we do appreciate all the same on his efforts. Last words from you, Gobby.
I don't have much to say. I hope these guys can make it through turn 1 cleanly. If we make it through turn 1 and Maggots and Beckett's clean, it should be a good race. But I'll hand it back up to you, as I'll let you do the race start for this one.
Yeah, gonna be absolute cinema, absolute chaos, but we love it all the same. It'll be Iman Ryan ahead of Max Meeker. He'll be on the inside, and I think potentially already got some very early start here. LMU, unlike ACC, and potentially Iman Ryan still going to hold off there. Stephen Ty looking at the inside of Max Meeker, but doesn't get the move done. Max goes very wide, potentially maybe even getting a track limit already. Iman Ryan definitely skates up ahead of the field and got himself a good gap already. The Valkyrie there, potentially McFarlane up in P4 as well, with Patrick Johnson in the Pepe Cadillac just behind him as well, as he all skate through Maggots, Beckett's, and now Chapel. And there's already a spin between the BMW and the Lexus, and between Jared Ellis and not too sure of the other car, but unfortunately they are going to fall to the back of at least the GT field, but hopefully no more cars that have been interrupted in all of that, as Patrick Johnson got the other Johnson of Ashley Johnson all over the back of him, as well as the run now into the Vale chicane. But it's all line stern for the hypercars so far. Pretty clean from the hypercars. We did see that contact between the Lexus and the BMW in the GT field, and we'll try and find out what happened there. But overall, I think a pretty good start. Looking at the GT field, still going to be Amaral 9 leading up the field ahead of Shady Samuel and Lucas Marshall in the Mercedes, as well as Harry Smiles here in the BMW, coming onto the Hamilton straight, chasing down the Porsche of Noah Reinhardt, and an absolute gaggle of Porsches behind him as well, Curtis Muller and Damiano Fercolini. Yeah,
that was an interesting start. The GTs, unfortunately, that looked like Maggots and Beckett's. I think that was Eshan Lele in that Lexus, unfortunately getting collected by that other car. But if we're not looking at the GTs, we look at the Hypers. They seem to have gone up pretty quick. There was a couple cars going wide on turn 1, but that was a good chance to avoid incidents. Maybe a lot of them not expecting the lack of grip due to not having tire warmers. But yeah, they've seemed to have started pretty well. It looks like Ryan is starting to already build a bit of a gap to P2. We do seem to have a bit of a battle starting to form here between P2 and P3 as we're looking back at the LMGT3 fields of Luke, and we're looking at the Mercedes of Lucas Marshall, and they look a lot closer to each other. We'll see what happens. We can see the hypercars already way up ahead, already starting to build a big gap. Now, what I'm interested in at Silverstone is the traffic management. Yes, there is a bunch of long straights, but there's also some very tight technical sections, such as the Vale Chicane or Village itself, or even Laffield, where it's much slower speed. So if you're a hypercar and you're catching GT3s on these particular parts of the track, it could really hurt your race and benefit whoever you're fighting.
Yeah, for sure as well. Like that little kink that we come onto the Hamilton straight from Club from the Vale Chicane will make it be very difficult to get a move done on the GT through there with the slower speed, and even into this section, which I know is kind of notorious to some other drivers, Village and the Loop. Very tricky. As Ash Johnson all over the back of Patrick Johnson as well, with the Valkyrie just up ahead of Andrew McFarland, as those two are starting to fall back a little bit from the top three of Ryan, Rika and Stephen Ty. I think Patrick's going to be struggling a little bit. I know the Cadillac in real life is actually kind of a little bit weaker when it comes to top end speed, hence why they've actually introduced an Evo Joker starring at this weekend in Daytona, where they've kind of reduced the downforce, but the Valkyrie in front of him notoriously very strong on the straights as well. To my knowledge, the BMW iNIM also very decent on the straights as well. Gobi, I don't know if you can maybe expand on that. You're a bit more up to date on the hypercar BOP, but it looks like Patrick, he's in a little bit of a top spot right now.
Yeah, I find the Caddy to be very much that one middle of the ground car, if that makes sense. But it's pretty good in corners. I don't feel like it's the best down the straight, but it's not the worst either. In fact, I think the worst down the straight is that Alpine of him and Ryan, but he doesn't seem like it if you see way up ahead. He's built a massive gap to P2 already. But that car is fantastic in the corners compared to the others, so he's making the most out of that, and obviously it's showing as he has, well, very obviously built a very big gap to P2. P2 is actually it's actually Toyota. I have not even seen P2, so it looks like P1 and P2 have actually went into the distance, and P3 actually, if I look at the track map, there's three of them way up ahead, and it looks like we're currently looking at what is the middle group of the hypercars. So it's looking like there's three groups of them. So that's that front running group with Ryan leading the pack with a massive gap between P2 and P3. P2 and P3 looks like they're going to be battling, but now we're looking back at the LMGT3 field. We're looking at Damiano right now in the iconic Porsche livery that he also runs for ACC. He's managed to get that ported into LMU, so he's very attached to this particular livery, and I don't blame him. It is a fantastic looking livery, and it's really just Damiano in a nutshell. You see that livery, you see it's Damiano is right now hunting down Mr. Muller, another very much Porsche enjoyer. If you talk about Muller, you talk about the Porsche, he can talk about it the whole day and night, non-stop until you go to bed. You wake up the next morning, have your cup of coffee, you mention Porsche, and you're back at it again. But right now it looks like we're having a three-way battle. Muller currently defending the inside from Damiano. Damiano also being a very patient driver. He's not going to be putting the pressure too much on Mr. Muller. In fact, he might actually be looking for a slipstream here, as they also get tailed by the Ford of who is that? What is that name? Ryu? It's very small on my screen. I'm not sure. A new name to me. It's a new name to me. I've never talked to that person. I've never met them, but they're also in that three-way battle. But Muller right now holding his grounds, not making it easy for Damiano. And obviously Damiano also has other issues behind him that he has to deal with. The benefit for Muller here is that he's not really battling with anybody in front of him. Yes, there is a couple of cars right there, but they're not quite close enough for him to actually start putting the pressure on them. So he's probably focusing on actually holding his position. He's currently holding P8, and knowing Muller, he's happy with the top 10. He's just recently really started coming back to racing. He's in love with LMU, and obviously he has been practicing as well as the results show over here.
Yeah, absolutely great to see Sean back in the Porsche and like it again. He did kind of try to come back to ACC with the Porsche, but unfortunately the ACC Porsche is, you know, you love it or you hate it, and you know, nothing's really changed there. But it's great to see him competitive in the Porsche, and also the Porsche seem to be a bit more kind of all-round competitive in ACC in LMU as well. It seems to be a very good baseline car. Damien, and I'm glad you mentioned the livery as well, because I kind of just was like, oh yeah, it's just Damien, it's the livery. It's like, oh wait, no, he's had to port that to Le Mans Ultimate, which is a great feat on him as well. We've got a replay here. Thank you very much to Ben Hignett as well. This is going to be the contact potentially between Jared Ellis and Ashan Lele in the white Lexus. Gets bumped sideways as Jared went to the inside and clips the BMW again. Sent it for a spin. That'll definitely be on the steward's box, but it did look like Ashan gave him the space and maybe was pushed out onto the grass, and unfortunately just a passenger that took them both with it. Frankly, quite a self-contained incident to the two cars. Frankly, no one else got caught up in all that.
Yeah, that looked like just the adrenaline kicking, you know, when that light goes green. The first lap is always the most hectic one, and that's when the adrenaline's pumping. You might get a bit shaky. I get a bit shaky when the adrenaline's pumping. Something I can't get rid of, as now we're starting to get hypercars actually getting into LMGT3 traffic, and this is what I'm talking about. They're catching them in these awkward sections, and especially with these long straights, it actually doesn't just ruin that one part of track, but it basically ruins your entire sector, because you cannot get quite as good of a run on the straight as you would without the traffic. So something else that could also happen at corners like Maggots and Beckett's, where if you're catching an LMGT3 there, you basically have the entirety of hanger straight to bleeding seconds just in the straight itself, not including you getting, well, I want to say held up. They're not getting held up. It's just that's just the nature of multi-class racing. The LMGT3 does not have to move out the way. The LMGT3 has to focus on his own race. It's the hypercar's duties to safely make it around the other class. So that's another interesting thing about multi-class racing, as we see Damiano going a bit wide there, perhaps maybe getting a bit frustrated with Muller, because now that Ford is looking like it's really on his rear bumper now, so now he's got even more troubles. I think he's going to have to try to defend us. We have a big pack of cars here. We have multiple hypercars and the LMGT3s all battling their own battles as they go down towards Stowe Corner into the Vale chicane here. So this is really starting to get spicy now.
Yeah, it does appear that Patrick Johnson has gone ahead of Andrew McFarlane in the Valkyrie, so the Cadillac is up into net P4 and has got a little bit of work to do to catch the top three. But he does seem to have gone the ultimate pace. If he did kind of struggle to get past the Valkyrie, is serving go around the outside of Paul McCulley in the Mercedes. Does a good job, sticks to his line. The thing like the GTs, kind of just do their line, but you kind of also got to be aware in the mirrors. You can't just chop down on a hypercar if it's coming through. It takes away the unfortunately gone wrong, and there's a bunch of cars off behind, and so I think I've just done an absolute live jinx to Paul McCulley and the aforementioned hypercars and all of that. You'll see if we can find a replay on that one, but there is going to be a lot of action, chop and change here and there, so hopefully if Mr. Ben Hignett is going to have to be all on his feet and trying to find all the action right now. It's all still happening, going on, but you should see McFarlane obviously falling behind Patrick Johnson. We'll see what Patrick can do to react. He's obviously still got to deal with the traffic. He has to go up the inside of the McLaren up ahead, going into there, and the McLaren's sent out wide, and he's gone out wide as well. So I'm hoping it's just patience as well from a lot of these hypercars, because they are more at control, dictating what's going to happen than the GTs. And obviously, when they're fighting this close for positions, it can all go to everyone's head. But hopefully everyone keeps things clean. And obviously we've got the stewards as well to enforce the rules and see if everyone's kind of been a little bit over the limit. As they run now through, they're getting through a fair decent amount of these GT fields, and frankly a lot of the GT cars started to spread out a little bit coming into, by the time they catch them, there's a little bit more of a delta between the GTs and the hypercars at this track, obviously within the left. So we're seeing now Paul McCulley, he's up the, Phil McCulley up the inside, and he just goes wide, he tags the BMW, and then he takes the Porsche out wide with him. So unfortunately, I'm not too sure really what happened there as well, despite seeing the replay. It was kind of a little bit maybe potentially on the Mercedes, but I'm sure that will go to the stewards as well.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem here. These GT3s, although they have less power, they are much better once again on these slow kind of corners, and out of corners they actually have better traction as well. And it's looking like that AMG for a split second just had a better run there. Obviously they want to focus on their race. These hypercars are in a massive pack as well, and they just don't want to be impeded, even though that the GT3 is just doing his own race. Although it could have been partly his fault. I'm not a steward, I'm not gonna judge. It's just the nature of multi-class, especially when the pace differential between the two classes is that massive. This tends to happen. That could have been also frustration on the hypercar side, because they want to, you know, battle the guys ahead of them, and you get a GT3 getting in between. It does tend to get frustrating at points, because you end up losing a couple seconds just from that. So a lot of these cars just don't really want to wait for the GT3 and pass them in a safe manner. They just want to get ahead as soon as possible so they can keep behind their rivals.
Well, for sure as well, and yeah, they gotta do everything. It requires two to tango, as the two Porsches there, and Patrick's gonna catch him around the outside, but that's where the GTs are naturally going. He's gonna go to the right side now, and they have to be aware it's coming through. He's done pretty well to get by them before the chicane. And dare say these GT Porsches are going to be a little bit better coming out on the exit. The Valkyrie's going to have to maybe stick behind, but no, he's going to send it up inside. He's going to send both of them wide. That's a bit silly from McFarlane. And you can see now it's absolutely just kind of ruined Damiano Fercolini. It might have been a bit touch and go, but it does get past those two cars at the expense maybe a bit of Mr. Fercolini there. He's going to feel maybe a little bit hard done by. I had a feeling that corner in particular was going to be a little bit of a danger zone. See the village, you know, we saw here with the AMG before, and the BMW and the Porsche hypercars getting through, and the Porsche just up ahead, and Ben Curtis there kind of having to take, you know, not really take the apex, because the hypercars are all streaming through in a bit of a line, and then Harry Smiles there in the BMW kind of getting the easy part, just being on the straight, just has to stick to one side. See the brake disc there glowing on the BMW on the rear. McFarlane's a little bit under pressure here. He's stuck behind the Porsche, has to go around it outside a bit slower, losing time, and Ash Johnson's right there to potentially pounce. You can just go absolutely, can all go wrong in a split second here.
This type of racing does definitely require a lot of trust, as the BMW does go a bit sideways there, but Ash manages to catch it back, thankfully. That could have gone really bad really quick. These hypercars do not like that at all. They're not designed to drift. Any upset in the aero of the car can just send it spinning, and it's fantastic to see Ash managing to catch it back, but they're now in the slipstream of McFarlane. McFarlane, that Aston we actually saw send it down the inside right at the apex of that corner on Damiano. I personally think that's not very nice. It's the best way to put it.
Not nice. Yes, that's exactly.
Not nice. That they go very deep there. They're definitely feeling the pressure from the BMW behind them, and I would like to see what's happened there. Now the BMW is still behind. Now they've got another LMGT3 in their way, and they're managing to get around safely this time around. But it's not very nice. It's not nice to you. It's not nice to the poor GT3 driver that, you know, just wants to do their race too. They're pretty helpless against these cars, you know. At the same time, there is a bit of a form of intuition you end up developing, especially driving these GT3s. When you see a hypercar coming behind you, sometimes you end up knowing, yeah, now they're gonna send it. I'm just gonna leave a bit of room there, because I feel like they're gonna want to slot in there. And it's upset me a bit, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll keep driving, keep on going, as long as they don't take me out. It's not the end of the world, and it's looking like so far they're still on four wheels, they're still driving. It's looking like McFarlane has actually managed to build a bit more of a gap once more to Ash Johnson.
Yeah, doing well. And to be honest, I kind of actually, after all these hours in LMU, I actually kind of did my first race in multi-class, but as a GT for the first time the other night. And it does, like, despite all the tools, you got the radar, you got, you know, obviously the track map, but it just doesn't feel like enough, especially with the speed difference. Like, I was up against LMP2s and not even against these hypers, so it would have been even more substantial speed difference. But I think for the most part, everyone's doing a very good job considering 27 GT cars. That's a lot of GT cars just in itself. And then you add 17 hypercars to the mix as well. I'm not sure if Marcus there listed at the bottom is actually. I think he was having some connection issues even before he got in. So I think he's gotten in, but considering he's 9 laps down into a 9-lap 13, I'm not sure how many laps we've done so far. Potentially he's having some issues out there and may not be circulating, but 16 hypercars, there's a lot going on. We did actually see maybe a bit of high attrition of the hypers last week in Paul Ricard, so we'll see how many we finish with. We're getting actually pretty close to nearly halfway through the session. Only 45-minute race as well. We kind of maybe forgot to point on that one. I think it is pretty much going to be doable for the hypercars. Patrick Johnson in the voice channel was talking to us as well, and I think that will be enough for them to get through. Potentially 49 minutes on a fuel tank. Obviously, depending on how you're driving, whether you're doing any saving as well. I find fuel calculation a little bit more difficult in LMU than it is in ACC. Replay it here now. I'll take it away.
Damiano here, going down to Cops Corners. I'm wondering what's happened there.
Oh, has he been Porsche?
We see. He's been Porsche at Cops. Oh, the heartbreak. Oh, and he's lost his wing. That is race over, unfortunately, for Damiano. Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking. That's another thing about LMU. The damage model is so brutal, so brutal. And now good luck bringing it back to pits. That's just a heartbreak, and like I said, it's pretty much race over for Damiano here.
I will say people learn very quickly how much a rear wing is essential, and we're going to see it here. You really need to slow down. You need to slow down to pedestrian road level speeds, because not only are you lost to downforce, like the front split is still making the downforce, so you're just gonna make the balance even worse with having no rear wing. It becomes it's twice the effect of, you're not losing the downforce, you're now created such a massive imbalance by having no rear wing. And unfortunately, you pretty much have to bring it back on a pit limiter if you don't want to unfortunately experience what Mr. Ferkley did just then. Yeah,
definitely agree with you. These cars are built to be on the track. It's even comparing it to a road car is being generous. They're built so precisely, and the balance has to be just right for them to drive. Especially, they've got really stiff suspension as well. It's not road car suspension, it's race car suspension, so it's extremely stiff. So when you have some kind of aero imbalance like this, the car just does not like it. And these tires as well, if you drive the pedestrian levels, as McFarlane here takes a bit of an expedition off the track, but it's back on track here.
And
the only car
as well, if you return to garage, you're done. Race over.
Yeah, it's race over. So it's very brutal in that regard, which in my opinion, I like realistic games.
I think ACC was quite forgiving in grand scheme of things, but
very much. One that I actually like, and I still find is somewhat brutal, is iRacing. So iRacing, you crash your car, you wreck it, but you can still tow back to pits. You can destroy the car, you can still tow it back. Yeah, you'll lose 10 laps, or even and some of my mates that did the Nords 24 last year, they've lost like, I think it was 50 minutes in the pits, and then they went back out and finished the race anyway. So
there's the tow time, and then there's the time to repair, and the time to repair is let's just say, as a thing, ACC, you can repair a car to immaculate condition in at most 2 minutes, which is quite a it's not, Mr. Mechanic here can attest to it, it's not realistic.
No, I can definitely rebuild a car in 2 minutes. It's no big deal, it's what I'm paid to do. I remember we had to take out the transmission last year at Sepang. We took out the transmission because there was a seal between the transmission and the engine that started leaking, and we had to replace that. That took us 6 hours.
2 minutes
fun
to take
times.
The drive shaft.
Well, even the drive shaft. Drive shaft we can take off in 2 to 5 minutes if you're quick enough. But it's very accessible under the race car. It's just very uncomfortable because you're laying down, you're miserable. But you know, it's my job. It's what I'm paid to do. I'm gonna do it to the best I can. And I love it. I love it. It's a fantastic job, and I'm very lucky to have that particular job, as we do see a battle between a Porsche and a BMW, as well as Hick that just goes off of it, Lance Stroll style, but we back in the battle, and that BMW does do the switcheroo, gets back ahead, but the Porsche now has the inside for the back straight, which is the Wellington straight, the Loop-D straight, and the Porsche does get back ahead, but does the BMW have an answer to that, as they decide to try and look down the inside, but decide not to go, and it looks like that battle is done for, but it's not done for yet, as they're going around left field now, and let's see. And the Porsche does, wait, no, the BMW is still behind the Porsche, sorry, had a bit of a brain fart there. Porsche still ahead of the BMW as they go towards Copse Corner. And we do have another battle here between an Aston and another Porsche. The Porsche seems to be a very popular car in this. This is between Sean Muller and David Stevenson in the Aston being a very, very pleasant car to drive in LMU, I'm gonna be honest. It seems very safe, and as they do get a better run there, but there's a hypercar getting involved here as they go towards Copse Corner. That goes side by side on Copse. We've seen that happen once in F1. It did not happen very well, but Muller does manage to stay ahead around the outside. He says, nah, this is my corner. As we have another hypercar getting involved here, so this could get very ugly very quick, as that's Stevie Ty in the Porsche Hyper trying to get around these GT3s as fast as they can, but it's looking like they get a bit impeded here down into the hangar straight, unfortunately for them, so that's going to cost them quite a lot. But what's important for Muller here is that he stayed ahead of the Aston, and he stayed in what is P13, so it's looking like Muller has actually lost quite a few positions since we last saw him. He was P8 last time we looked at him, and now he's back down to P13, so wondering what's happened to him. But now they've got the David Stevenson just really putting the pressure on him, really wanting to get around, as they have their own problems behind them of Parkins and Madden also wanting to get around. So we're having a fantastic four-way battle here for what is currently P13 in the LMGT3 field, so this could get very interesting very soon.
Yeah, I think maybe Sean may have had a few troubles potentially when the hypercars were going through. We saw obviously what happened to Ferkelini, that he was battling as well. But Lachlan Parkin and David Stinson giving him a lot of hassle, but Sean Muller is doing a very good job on the defense as well. His kind of wall of death around the outside, to hold it around the outside of Stevenson in the Aston Martin took a lot of faith at a Copse Corner, and unfortunately David getting a bad run now onto the Wellington straight. Going to come on the threat now from Matt Madden in the PG Racing McLaren. Patrick Johnson right behind in the Cadillac, holds back as well, sensibly done, and Matt Madden filters in behind, potentially going to get picked up by Patrick Johnson around the outside. They can carry that with greater speed around the outside, so that's not too bad. Minimum tyre loss on both ends, and oh, the Cadillac's going to have to sweep through left and then go to the right and gets around the outside of Lachlan Parkin, and will keep Sean Miller just up ahead and clear him very nicely from here as well. So that's actually honestly not too bad, filtering through all four of those cars between all those corners.
Patrick Johnson out here playing no Hesse at Silverstone between a bunch of LMGT3 cars. It's fantastic to see that they've actually managed to get through that very, very cleanly, as now McFarlane is behind, also trying to get through, and they've had the better end of the stick here, as they've caught the majority down the hangar straight here. Wondering if they can get past Sean. That's close, and one was up. They have managed to get in clean.
I did thought he wouldn't have been happy with that kind of last minute send into Stoke Corner.
Oh, I guarantee you he wouldn't have been too pleased about that. I mean, I wouldn't have either. I would have been absolutely fuming if I was driving that Porsche. But thankfully, apart from it being very, very sandy to say the least, at least they stayed on track. So he lives another lap to
behind these guys. So he's really lost out as well. We saw him fighting with Patrick Johnson from P4 overall, but he's unfortunately seems to have maybe caught up quite a lot. Was he the BMW that we saw got hit by the Mercedes? I feel like that was a different colours potentially. Ben Vincent might have been this car I was talking about.
don't quite remember that. That's the problem, right? With LMU, you can't get your own custom livery unless you pay a subscription fee, which it's not the end of the world, but it does make it quite a bit confusing because a lot of these drivers, they only want to do OR. They couldn't care less for the dailies or all that other stuff. They don't care if they don't have their own liveries, but it does make it very confusing to commentate because a lot of these cars end up having the same liveries. So you're not sure who you're talking about unless you look at their little name on top of the car, which, to be fair, is nicely visible. But when you're in the action, you're trying to basically commentate 5 different cars at once. It does end up getting confusing, especially, let's say, theoretically, 4 BMWs fighting for position and they're all the same liveries. Then it does get a bit confusing. But thankfully here they all appear to have different liveries.
It'd be nice if we could have like our ACC. They can at least make like an in-game livery, like they just paint it all one color. But I think that's just something. That was something that will come with time as more livery-based liveries will probably come to the game as well. To go round, and they're gonna meet in the middle. And such as Steve Lewis and Tim Vaughan gonna somehow avoid any further collision as they went side by side through the Porsche of Hany Corey. And he's gonna send it up the inside. Has to back out of it. We saw how badly that went for Fergalini. He's gonna send the Ford wide anyway, and Tim Vaughan in the Toyota up the inside.
And the Ford actually flashing.
He's gonna stick it. Yeah, would have been too happy about that. Tim gets ahead of the Porsche. That was very messy all around, I think, to be honest, between the two Hypers and the GTs. Thankfully, they're all still facing the right direction.
These hypercars just very much in a hurry to get a move on. I have a suggestion, right? I know this is a multi-class race.
Ooh, I just saw
right.
last time backwards. I think that must have, unfortunately, it got even worse for that man.
Oh no. Yeah, that looks like that was probably that Ford that was that Ford that actually ended up flashing these hypercars. It wasn't too pleased, I think. There was a bit of mist going on there. Unfortunately, they forgot to drive. They got a bit upset, and unfortunately, have ended up spinning. Now, I'm wondering if they just spun on their own or if they were involved in some kind of contact. As we see our cameraman here going through the replays. We'll keep you updated. I see what happened. I'll let...
yeah. We get spoilers here.
We get spoilers, but it's looking like Ford ended up doing Ford things. And unfortunately, yes, completely stopped the Porsche. We're good on the Porsche to actually step on the brakes and not absolutely pummel the Ford, but they got on the brakes. So very, very good driving from them as well. Unfortunately, it has very much hurt their race as well as we do have. Oh my god, there's just so much going on. There's so much going on. That Porsche really wants to get through. That's
see the BMW, you can hold it around the outside of the Porsche. It's just better for these slow speeds, these GTs. Sensible there from Ash Johnson to stay behind the BMW. Didn't go try to send it last minute up the inside of that corner, like we've seen a few times now. Steve Lewis up ahead as well. But yeah, it's all kind of changed. We've got McLaren's here offline as well. Bertolini here. He found a rear wing. He's attached it. He's really stuck it on with Selly super glue as he's stupidly locking up, power sliding between his two corners. I don't know where to look. There's another BMW up ahead there of Cook. Stays offline as well. Very sensible between there. Ash Johnson coming through as well. I don't think any positions have changed, but it's just been absolute multi-class madness. Everyone's getting through for the most part. But yeah, unfortunately that Ford that we saw that replay for did go for a spin. Something that LMU doesn't, the TC, it doesn't save you like it does in ACC. I'm not too sure about the Ford at ACC, but oh, speaking of spin, Lachlan Barkin on the side, and unfortunately loses the position. Saved it well, did a good save.
Yeah, talk about Turcolini, fantastic to see him actually get back on track. I'm gonna be honest, putting a rear wing back on the car, it was only the wing that actually fell off, not the main strut, so it actually only takes a couple minutes to put it back on. It's held up like
main struts. If they get broken, that's your race action.
Yeah, if the main struts break, then you've got a problem. But if it's only the wing falling off, you can attach one back on in like 2 minutes. It's held on by 4 screws. I'm not even kidding. I wouldn't say flimsy, but obviously these cars, they save as much weight as possible. If it's unnecessary, they're not gonna put it on. In fact, talking about flimsy cars, these hypercars, I've seen videos of them. They're extremely flimsy little things, extremely fast on a circuit, but the bodywork is really, really flimsy, really putting on that weight-saving part of building a car. So it's really interesting to see how they're built. But we're gonna have a two-way battle for what will be P7. So that's Ash Johnston and Steve Lewis. No, that's not P7, is it? No, it is P8. Apologies. Battle for P8 between Ash Johnston and Steve Lewis here, as they go down onto the Wellington Straits, looking like Johnson actually is getting a better run there, actually getting a bit impeded mid corner, looking like they are a bit better there. There's a GT3 a bit involved there. They're going to look down the inside for Brooklands here, but Steve Lewis not letting it go that easy. That will have the inside for left field, and they're going side by side still all the way around left field here, and they go down to the final corner, and Steve Lewis just manages to hold on to it. But now Ash Johnston looking down the inside for Cops decides, you know what, that is not the corner to do it at, and we'll have another go this lap.
Yeah, you see now Steve Lewis been very taily between Village and the loop, and to get just that bad run off the run, and it gave Ash Johnson a real look, and it was great fighting from both of them, both very firm but very fair. Steve Lewis doing a very good job all around the outside of Brooklands right now, but he's still very much under threat. The BMW seems pretty good in the slipstream as they run now to Stowe. Are they both going to clear it? Steve Lewis is, but Ash Johnson and at the mercy there of the Mercedes actually keeping off the line, and it was very generous from McCulley there. So but Ash Johnson didn't lose too much time overall as they run now through the Vale chicane. Looking pretty even between two. See that Steve Lewis sideways again, really struggling to get that power down in the Porsche 963. The V8 twin turbo not getting the power down it was like, and from the other V8 twin turbo, the BMW behind him as well. But oh, the BMW caught the inside curve there. Got to get a bad run through the corners to see if he can make it up on the brakes. But a big lock up there from Steve Lewis, goes very wide. There's got to be on the outside between P2 in the GT. Shady Samuels having to turn in some point, but does get around, and they both go for a spin, and a half spin. And he actually did. Oh my goodness, and Shady Samuel having to make it off track as Steve Lewis went for a half spin, caught it, and then got going again, but easily done for Ash Johnson. That was absolutely crazy, but they all came over it relatively unscathed as Lele here on the back of King, fighting for P8 right now, and it's been absolute action station at this particular part of the track. So much has been fabulous racing all around, and we see now Callum Lloyd gonna get most of these cars done on the straight, but yeah, Lele on that recovery drive from lap 1, but wow, that was amazing stuff between Steve Lewis, Ash Johnson and Mr. Shady Samuel.
That's kudos to Steve Lewis there. I do not know how they did not spin there. Usually, those cars, they start spinning, they're gonna spin, alright? There's very, very, very little chance they're gonna recover. If the car wants to spin, it's gonna spin. It's very hard to recover these super high downforce cars, but Steve Lewis managing to recover it not once, but
great driver from Shady Samuel.
Twice or three times, and yeah. Good situational awareness for Shady Samuel. He saw it happening. Like, you know what? This is just looking a bit sour. I'm just gonna relax a little bit here. Take a bit of a breather, and that was the right call to move to do. As you see, the big lockup here looks like the rear left or front left, end up completely locking up. That would give him a very, very nasty rattle. And here they recover it here, and they do end up touching Shady Samuel a bit, but nothing too dramatic. Although Shady does have to go off track there, but the only bad thing about that is that they're going to have a massive flat spot, and they're going to be feeling it in their wheel, to put it very lightly.
Yeah, still a few minutes to go. I believe potentially 6 minutes about to click down on the clock, so not too much longer to go. But yeah, Steve Lewis, you've seen him struggle getting the power down, a few lockups here and there, no ABS in these hypercars. As I see now, the the BMW and the Mercedes going side by side between King and Harry Smiles. and it's still going side by side. Going to give Lele an opportunity here to potentially get in on this action. The BMW is going to edge ahead and give a bad run to the Mercedes, going down Wellington Straight, door banging between Lele in the Lexus and King in the Mercedes. Lele gonna maybe send it up the inside, does get to the apex first, gives room, does the Mercedes, gonna shove it out wide and does get ahead. Xavier Ian in the Alpine just behind as well, Demiano Fercolini just behind them as well. But these guys gonna get all caught up. There's a McLaren as well on the front there, Harry Smiles. I'm not too sure if that McLaren is, I think it's maybe a lapped car. It is. They're going to go left, right, and potentially try and clear it as the Alpine does manage to side through most of them there. And it all going out wide. Ryan Smith. Oh, contact between the BMW and the Lexus. And they're all going to go free wide with the upper lapped McLaren. And they're going to make contact. And they spun round. And is that him?
It collected wrong.
Oh no, the leader, the hypercar leader is caught up in the GT traffic between Ryan Smith, the GT lapped car that was down on all these guys, and Dylan King was involved in that. I'm not too sure what the third car was. You can see there Ryan is up and going again. I don't think he's lost out. Potentially. No, the Toyota. No, the Toyota's right there. He has lost the lead. It is going to be Max Ricker is taking the lead ahead of Man Ryan now due to that incident. Well. Stephen Ty is right there as well. So down to third place for Man Ryan. And it's oh, as Max Ricker goes off as well. What is happening? We need to know.
Yeah, we need to know. We need a replay now. As Rika does manage to hold on to the lead, but that is a massive heartbreak for Ryan, and what looked like half the GT3 field here. I saw Ryan was on the grass for quite a while there, so I can't imagine they're too happy with what's happened there, but that is an absolute heartbreak. They've been holding such a massive lead, and unfortunately ended up collecting, what looked like a three wide. That's just... massive incident, but they've managed to get back on track. But I can't imagine their tires would have been too happy with that spin, and that's just given enough time for Rika to get into the lead of this race. And with only 4 or 5 minutes to go, if they keep it clean, I reckon this, I don't want to say is done for, because anything could happen as we've just seen. But we're looking behind you. Look at Ryan. He's all over the place. His tires are completely shot, completely overheated. I can't imagine how bad the flat spotting is as well.
Right.
And that McLaren collects Stevie Ty, so it looks like under brakes. They moved under braking and unfortunately collected the Porsche of Stevie Ty as well.
Yep, so it is going to be Max Ricker in the lead still, who did kind of go off as well at the Vale chicane with the Mercedes ahead. It's really hard to make a call between all of that. We saw Eman Ray get caught up. There was a contact between the Lexus, the Mercedes, and the lapped McLaren. And unfortunately, after that contact, did just clip the leader, the hypercar leader of Eman Ryan as well. So it's hard to call what happened there. Max Ricker obviously up into P1, did go off. Stephen Ty got up into P2 as well. We saw that contact with the GT, same GT McLaren was caught up in that as well. So it sent Stephen Ty off into the current pit lane. We see a replay now here. So I think Iran Ryan's he's got steering damage. He's got some potentially or broken suspension or steering damage, because he looks like he can't keep the car even on a straight line. No matter how bad the tires are, there'll be something wrong there potentially. You can see the incident that we just mentioned did happen about that. So it is going to be Max Ricker ahead by 4 seconds to Eman Ryan. Still Stephen Ty in P3. Patrick Johnson 6 seconds behind him as well. So ultimately the only thing that's really changed is between Eman Ryan and Max Ricker. But 2 minutes to go right now is swung in the lead of Mr. Max Ricker right now in the Toyota. And yeah, that's I think there's going to be a few words overall about what happened then. And I really can't digest what's just happened there.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the second monitor right now, and it's looking like that Alpine does not want to drive in a straight line whatsoever. I can see Ryan is just in a straight line. He's just wiggling left and right, so he's definitely got some kind of wheel damage there. And the racing can be so unfair. He's been driving a fantastic race. I hate to say it, it was a well-deserved win for him. He's put in the effort. He's built that gap just to completely lose it.
He wasn't even trying to make a
that
move with those guys. They just had their own accident. He just got clipped. Like,
yeah,
he couldn't do anything.
it's very, very unfortunate, and he just has to keep it on track, do his best, get as many points as he can. It's only the second race of the season after all. There's still more to come, but yeah, that is definitely a heartbreak. I would have been furious from that. I'd like to imagine he's still calm and composed. Just another day. It's fine. It's fine. There's more races to come. Ryan is a bit of a rocket anyways. It's not like he's lacking wins. But yeah, that was extremely unfair for him.
Looking at his delta, he is losing a lot. He's lost 4 seconds already and like half a lap to Max Rika. And he's falling back to Stephen Ty. I'm not too sure Stephen Ty's condition, his car's condition happening right now, but is going okay. Potentially might be potentially picking off Ryan, but Ryan just has to get through another lap, and I think there'll be it. And we've crossed the 45-minute time, so this will be the last lap regardless. So we'll see where Iman Ryan is right now. But yeah, that's, I don't know what to call it. That it was between Lele, the Mercedes as well. Forget who the Mercedes was. I think of King. You can see now is this Stephen Ty potentially good, or a Porsche sent on the inside of the other Porsche, the Manthey Porsche, which might be Sean Muller, and not too sure. Unfortunately, that Porsche going for a spin. Did you catch which Porsche that was?
I'm pretty sure that was the Porsche of Sean Muller. I don't see any other Manthey Porsches in this split, but that was a bit naughty from Stephen Ty. And at the same time,
I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure if it was. There's a million Porsches that look the same, but
Porsches in the same livery,
in fact, I don't think it was, because he's still quite a bit ahead of Patrick Johnson. He could have been another one. There's like 3 of them, but that was a naughty move against Muller. That was not right to do, unfortunately. Hate to say it. Luckily, it did not. It didn't come off worse. It could have been a lot worse, but again, he wouldn't have been too happy with is that Damiano missing a rear wing again? Did I see that correctly? Am I seeing that right?
I think you might. I think you might be.
I think that he is. Yeah, he is missing a rear wing again.
What have you done?
He's missing a rear wing again. Oh, Damiano.
It's the last lap though. He went out the box through a new one. Don't have to even have that many spares left, to be honest. But there is gonna be it is gonna be Max Rika. It is gonna come across the line in P1. The surprise finish for him potentially. I don't think he could have foreseen what will happen there, but he is gonna cross the line P1 in the hypers, and it is gonna be a top runner, hopefully right there as well. Gonna finish P1 in the GTs as well. Is it over? I'm not sure.
I think it's over. He's still driving. I don't think it's over.
I'm not too sure.
We're still racing, baby.
I could be wrong. Probably got it wrong. Yeah, normal for me. But I figured, we're 47 minutes into the race. I figured it might be over by now, but maybe not. It looks like we're still going, and you don't stop until the checkered flag falls.
And I think his race is still over. I don't think he's feeling too much pressure.
I blame.
He's got a very small 10-second lead. Very much under pressure here.
I'm going to look aware Man Ryan right now because he's losing time. Oh, there's
Pidgey
Madden Brothers. Yep. And Lele here just ahead of Lachlan Parkin. Lachlan wants to send a move up the inside. Going to have Daryl Lim in the Porsche. That Porsche better stay behind Mark Bushell. Yep, sensible operator, keeps well out of that. But it is going to be the Lachlan Parkin in the BMW. He does get ahead of Eshan Lele, trying to come back. It's a little bit ambitious coming around that last corner. But it is going to be the BMW ahead as Mark Bushell now finds the right time to side through these cars. Go left or right, it's so hard to tell, but does get through, frankly, unscathed.
That's some very intense racing, especially at the end of this race, and a bit of door banging here and there, unfortunately. It's funny because one thing I do like about
stopped, so I assume the rest is over.
No, this has got to be the last lap as Max Rika goes around the start-finish straight, and hopefully it'll be all over soon. hopefully we'll see a little checkered flag as well, because at the same time I don't know if they're still racing or not. That's another problem. I don't know if we're gonna see a little checkered flag or not. It doesn't look like there's a little checkered flag, but it is race over as all these cars are pulling off track now, and it'll be Rika in the hypercars taking the overall win, followed by Ryan, and actually Patrick Johnston in P3 has managed to get around Stevie Ty. So Patrick Johnston will take the final spot on the podium for the hypercar. In LMGT3, I think there's one still going around the field, unless he's already finished. I cannot see the track map. It's very small, but I'd like to imagine Talk Bramo, aka Emerald Name, will take the win for this one, followed by Shady Samuel, and Lucas Marshall will take the final spot on the podium for the LMGT3 field.
Yep, and the stewards are chiming in as well. Like for the collision that involved Ryan, it was kind of deemed a racing incident. I think the right call as well on those GTs. Yeah, it was a very tricky situation, to be honest. Like if the lap car, even if he tried to back out of it, certainly he could have potentially just brake checked someone who was right behind him. Had the hypercar leader that was right behind him and close enough. Unfortunately, he got tagged. So I think it was a bit of a no-win situation out of all those guys. 3 wide into Maggots, no work. Yes, it's going to be Max Rika ahead of Eman Ryan, ahead of Patrick Johnson in for the top 3 of hypercars. Unfortunately, it seems like Stephen Ty had more troubles than we potentially found out from what happened in that whole collision. But it is going to be Top Romo ahead of Shady Samuel, ahead of Lucas Marshall to make up the top 3 in the GT cars as well, in the GT class as well. So, yeah, that's quite an ending to a very entertaining race, I have to say, all round. And I think there's a big props to that, as much as the absolute carnage that did finish off the end of the race. But don't go away anyway. We'll have Split Red of ACC. It'll be starting in about just over 20 minutes, as our LMU doesn't go the full hour for these first few races. Next round of LMU, though, we will be having a 60 minutes on the 5th of Feb, according to the calendar. That might change, but that is going to be at Monza.
Yeah.
Monza's great, but we're going to have the Thermaltake $50 gift card at week 1. So we're going to do a spin to win. Thank you everyone to enter, and best of luck. Let's spin the wheel and see who wins.
That's a very big spinny wheel.
Spin. Oh, I can't read it.
Nah, that's rigged.
Oh,
that is rigged. That is rigged. Nah. Nah. It's absolutely rigged.
That again.
I'm actually running it again.
You're actually gonna run it again? No way.
Nah, we're messing with
Ben Hignett wins again. Luca Giacomo.
That's good for Luca. I don't think I've ever been on track with this guy, so hopefully he gets to use this.
We were joking, Ben. I was joking. I was messing with you. You can't have your gift card unless you're not allowed to have yours.
Thank you very much. I imagine either one of the admins will get in contact with you, or you can get in contact with the admins. I'm sure whether he's even watching, but we'll find out. Congratulations, and yeah, other than that, we will break until Split Red, Gobby, unless you've got anything else to contribute. But we'll be having a bit of a long break, about 20 minutes at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. We will be going live with Split Red.
I definitely enjoyed it. Thank you for having me in the box for a one-time show up, maybe more. And hopefully I'll see you guys as soon as possible. I'll definitely be seeing you guys on track for the Batters 12 hours. Looking forward to that. Apart from that, my name was Tim Gobe. I was commentating with Cam Thistlewheat and Mr. Rig the Wheel himself, Benjamin Hignett on the cameras. Ben Rignett, exactly. And this was LMU Race 2 of was it season 6? Season 6, and OR will be back with you shortly after this short break.
All right, we are back this time. Hopefully you can hear us. We're going to try that one again. Sorry about that. But welcome back. We are here on Season 24 of the Thermaltake Sprint Series Split Red, aka Split Dead, if you saw last week's race. But that's okay. Thank God we've come to a nice, big, wide open track where there is plenty of room to pass and plenty of room for these drivers. Isn't that right, Matt Madden?
I hate to inform you if this is we watch a Beyblade going spinning off track.
Perfectly
We
on
are at OULTON Park this week, which is kind of like trying to thread a needle at 240k an hour. There's not much room to move, blink, think, or breathe at this track in these GT3s, mate.
Yeah, absolutely right. It is going to be absolute carnage again, just what the doctor ordered. As if it wasn't hard enough already, I believe there is some moisture in and around. Track was damp coming into qualifying with some water on the track, making it even harder. So this qualifying session, as it goes on, is just going to get faster and faster, and these drivers are going to have their work cut out for them. So they're going to have to keep an eye on the weather, keep an eye on their fuel, and just try and keep the thing on the track. As we saw that Audi go for a spin through Island Bend, this is going to be a big challenge for these drivers.
Absolutely, as if it wasn't hard enough already trying to run in shoes is 2 sizes too small. Now you've got to do it in the rain, in the wet, in the greasy conditions. But hey, we're seeing some unbelievable lap times put down at the moment. To talk about last week, we actually saw some fantastic racing go on at the Red Bull Ring. We had a big win from Breno Ellis, followed up by Gia Coman and Kurt Johnson there as well. What a follow-up for the top 3 spots. But this week, I think we're going to see something a little bit different. We had a really, really unfortunate mishap last week for some of the fan favourites. We got Chris Cooley, aka Dink Donk, and Rob Underwood both end up in a bit of a shared mishap there as Donk tried to rejoin at, I believe it was T1 at Red Bull Ring. But this week we're at OULTON Park, as we mentioned, which just happens to be Chris Cooley's, well, I think it's in his top 2 or 3 favourite tracks, so we can expect to see something special here.
Yeah, absolutely. Those drivers are going to be looking to show their hand again and see what they can do at this rough and bumpy and tight and narrow and twisty and windy and all those adjectives. This track is going to be a challenge for them. So we've got about 5 minutes left into the session as we see Cooley, speak of the devil, go to the top with a 33.5. We're going to see this time, we have to keep an eye on these times as we are going to see this track get faster and faster as the track gets faster, as it gets rubber on it, track is going to get quicker. So those times are definitely not going to be what we see it towards the end of the session, and it's one of those ones where you're going to have to make sure you've got the right amount of fuel in the car, because if you get caught out with a couple of minutes left, you may not get that final lap in, and that's unfortunately not going to be good for you because you're going to lose out on that extra grip and that extra pace the track's going to bring.
Yeah, absolutely, and we did see that yesterday in the split yellow race. We had, I think it rained about 2/3, maybe just prior to of the way through the race, and it completely messed up some people's strategies. We had people diving in left, right, and centre trying to figure out, is now the right time to pit? Is it better to stay out? It looks like, looking at the rain radar that we are seeing on the screen at the moment, we're going to have a bit of a rainy start to the race, or maybe just after we kick off. So now we're going to have that really awkward moment of, do I start on wets? Do I start on dries? Do I try and brave it? We'll just have to watch. But we are watching at the moment, Cooley at the moment, 0.66 up. I know he's got a 131.7 in him on a perfectly dry track, using all of the runoff there, staying within track limits. This Aston, the way he drives it, we were watching his hands just a moment ago. The way that he drives this car, I've talked to him about this at length. He locks the rears intentionally on fast, or mid-speed corners rather, because the Aston tends to bog down on a 132.84, by the way, we just saw. So watch his hands if we get a chance as he goes through some of the mid-speed corners. And you'll actually see the dead straight mid-turn as he locks the rears and sends it round. Unbelievable. But we're seeing some really, really good, solid times here through the pack. Couple of Pro-Ams sitting there in a tight little pack of led by O'Brien as well. Tio sitting up there in the silvers just outside the top 10 tonight.
Yeah, that is a promising time there from Seaman with that Pro-Am, with that Ferrari, that 323 car there. And like you said, that Aston, just touching on Cooley again, the way he drives, I do not understand how that actually works. The Aston at the best of times is pretty understeered. It is a bit of a boat, but you've got to get it to turn, and it does like to turn a lot on the brakes, but he just happens to use even more rear bias and just lock those rear wheels, and that car will rotate like there is no tomorrow. And somehow he managed to hang on it and send it out the other side. I think even if I tried that, I'd end up backwards in about 3 corners, so hats off to him, but it obviously works. As we see here, our friend, not Mezcal, as we found out, he is not named after the drink, unfortunately. As we see, it is Damien Mansell, or close to that. We're going to go with that. I think we've decided tonight. It'll at least give us, it's close enough for us, where we don't want to embarrass him anymore. Hopefully he doesn't get held up by any traffic. He's about 3/10 up, coming through Lodge Corner into Deer Leap and across the line, and that's going to put up to P4, a very tight pack in the silver class there, taking out 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So some work here for some of our pro drivers further down the bottom to get in these last couple of laps.
And just a quick shout out there for Damo Mansell. Earlier this week, I think he'd spent about 30 minutes total on OULTON. So the fact that he's now pushing very, very fast times, I think that was just into the 132s, maybe a low 133. Amazing and sensational improvement. I think at the start of the week, he'd said that 135 he'd be happy with. So pretty stellar time there. We're seeing now Roy Ankin, semi-recent graduate up to Sprint Series out of the OOR Academy Series. Just goes to show the talent and the depth of races that we've got between all of the series here. If you are new to sim racing, OOR has this fantastic Academy Series that brings drivers like Roy through up into the ranks, but also gets them into things like commentating and stewarding as well. We're both racers here, Liam. I think you're a lot faster than I am, but hey, I run my mouth, you run the car. We have a perfect thing going. It's just money. So we're seeing here as well, Barker, we could be still on a valid lap. It looks like it. Yes, that's a great lap. Puts him sailing up there into 13 as well.
I just looked at the leaderboard. I've just realised that Cooley has a 1 second gap over Ellis and Jacob Weatherburn, which is absolutely insane. Like you said, the way he drives that car is unreal. But yeah, shout out to our Academy Series, as Matt just mentioned there. Even the likes of myself started in there, although it was coming on 5 years ago now, which is wild to think about. Started in there and did the Academy Series and moved up to sprints, and then have ventured. I've also done some stewarding and obviously have done some commentating as well. As Cooley's up just a tiny bit more, goes a little bit faster there. Breno Ellis looks like he's improved there. He's only 6/10 behind now. Only 6/10, I know, crazy in that Audi there. Absolutely crazy. He's going to be hanging on for dear life in that Audi as well at this track. It loves to be Taylor at the best of times, let alone when the track is anything but smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is such a... I know we were just hanging some smack on it, but it is a really cool little track. Very similar to the likes, in my mind anyway, to Donington Park. Just these really narrow, tight, twisty surfaces, a lot of off-camber corners. They're just so wild and hilarious to drive. It is a great go-kart track. Absolutely. That's Biggie Higgy on the cams and the race control chatter tonight. So massive shout out to Benny Hignett for all he does for OOR. He's on. We're also running. Were we supposed to have a new overlay? Am I missing it?
I did say something about an overlay. I think that might have been an LMU. I saw that. I'm not 100% sure, but
strong copy.
We're running the old and true, the old faithful ACC leaderboard, and yeah, unfortunately not working in ACC currently, but we'll get on that. Damiano crosses the line in P13, so probably not quite where he wanted to be. I think he wanted to be a little bit further up, and as we mentioned, a bit of a go-kart track itself here, so got to be really difficult to overtake. I love this track. I love hot lapping it. Nailing a lap around here is great fun, but it's not the best for trying to get any passes on, as we say. Mansell getting up just a little bit further, but does not improve any higher spots. But that's going to be a P5 start for him if no one else goes any faster. Shout out for P4, 5, and 6 in silver class, ahead of quite a few of our pro drivers.
Yeah, it's unreal, the depth of talent that we have at the moment. A couple of silvers, maybe holding out. It took our man Gobi just a little while to creep up there. Gobi has and always will be a pro-level driver. So it's, sometimes we get a couple of hanger-oners. They're a bit scared of the pro class, but we encourage you. Come on in, the water's fine. Jump on into pro class and show your worth up here with the big fast boys. So we got some aliens in here, but I mean, look at the silvers now. We got silvers in 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's unbelievable, the speed and pace of these silver drivers. So well done, everyone. But we're glad that we've seen a few more people push up to that pro class too.
Yeah, as we see adjustment, go up to P4. I don't know if that's actually an AM drive, or I think that might be an ACC display issue there. Jumping up to P4 in that Mustang with an absolutely amazing time. Perkins not quite up. He's not going to improve. Stays there in P8. Yeah, look at that. Silver lockout almost for the back of that top 10 as we start. Oh boy, it's going to be wet. It's going to be slippery. It's going to be spicy. Split red, split dead. Everyone's going to hit the wall turn 1, right?
Let's hopefully avoid some of that carnage. It's going to be tight. This is the thing. We're going to be right back at 9 p.m, but I think we're back. We might be having some broadcast problems.
We are definitely back. I'm here. You're here.
Hello.
The Higgett is here. Hopefully we're here. Hopefully they can hear us now.
There we go.
Back.
Look at that. It didn't reset the weather. Unfortunately, it's still raining. Sometimes what we've just done is the old try and turn it off and on again kind of thing. But with the weather, it's a bit like waking up, realizing it's a crappy day, and then going back to bed. But unfortunately, it's still raining. Welcome. So everyone will be here putting on some wet tires, getting rid of the slicks. This is going to be an interesting start because I think it's going to dry up in about 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, or at least we hope they're going to be putting on the wet tyres. We do see someone, every now and again, we see some people accidentally tick the wrong option on their tyre selection, and that's not going to end very well for them. So absolutely pouring down. It's only right that we come to Britain, and it is absolutely chucking it down with rain. You would not have it any other way, as we have a bit of a wander down our fabulous-looking grid here.
Oh, how good's the Ford credit car? The old looking like V8 style liveries. These things are fly. Big Mobile One sticker on the front. I love it. Just that it brings back those nostalgic childhood kind of memories of the old cars you watch on TV. And Mansell, like Damo's livery is a bit the same for me as well. But we do, is that like almost looks like a Need for Speed livery on the right here that we've got. I reckon I had some kind of Need for Speed thing. Need for Speed Underground had a bit of that like spray paint look going on.
Yeah, it definitely does give those sort of vibes. I do like that quite a lot. You mentioned the Ford credit livery and childhood memories. It depends who you're talking to. There's probably quite a few of us in here that may not have been born when that car was running, which
that makes me feel old.
Not to rub it in or anything, but just putting that out there. As we see our lovely Polaroid Porsche here. As we go further down the grid, we've got the Ferrari there. On the right-hand side, the Milwaukee Ferrari, as we do often see, and a couple of other. We see this Red Bull Porsche livery. I believe that is Mr. Bank on the Red Bull Porsche. That's a Need for Speed livery, right?
Yeah, this is that is awesome. That is our man Dan Clark in the Need for Speed Underground style livery there on the Beamer. It's an absolute classic, and I love seeing it out on track.
Yeah, absolutely. Damiano back a little bit further back than I think he would want to be back there with his Porsche livery that we do see quite often. Is that an N livery on a McLaren, or have I just been looking at too many Hyundais? I don't know. As we move further down, it was almost a camouflage-looking colour Ferrari there with the horse on the back. Some more Polaroid-looking cars here.
Kodak moment.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing.
Fantastic.
Can we get an F in the chat for anyone born in the 1990s or earlier as well? Just make me feel a little bit better, perhaps?
I would know what that's like.
Wow. I'll tell you all about it at the Bathurst 12 Hour. By the way, the Bathurst 12 Hour is next weekend. The Sim event hosted by OOR. So make sure you tune in on Thursday night next week as we will be doing the qualifying and top 10 shootout. Always an amazing night. We love watching it back. We love the comms. We also love the talent, the skill of the driver. Last year, I believe we had a 158 down from Brad Cook and the Honda, which was just absolutely sensational to watch. This year, everyone tune in. It will be next Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Sydney, Brisbane, ACT time. And we're always in for a massive, massive day. Can't wait. But for now, we're about to watch Split Red. This is your Thursday night racing. We have an hour-long race tonight. You're going to sit here, grab a beer. It's Thursday. Tune in. Liam and I are going to talk you through it. Maybe we'll give some smooth and dulcet tones for the rain. Bit of ASMR while we go around for the formation lap.
You're going to put them all to sleep, Matt.
Welcome everybody to your Thursday evening. You'll be with us now for Octane Online Racing's quality lap. Nah, we're getting excited. We're seeing here, we're watching. Yeah, let's get hyped. We've got cars clipping through each other. The magic of the ACC outlap as we watch everyone have enough room on track. I miss it. I miss that. LMU has bruised me. Everyone is able to clip and crash into one another on the outlap. It's a bit scary, but ACC has this beautiful sense of magic. It's an 8-year-old game. We're still here. Look at the strength of the field. We've got 30-plus drivers here tonight, 2 starting from the pits. We've got 2 of OOR's absolute fastest up the front, followed by our second place from last week, Giacomin, Weatherburn, Justman, rounding out the top 5. We come around. This is such a twisty, turny, turvy track. Can we grab a work beer, Matt?
How many adjectives are you going to throw in there about Old Bark?
Mate, everything. I've got the Oxford Dictionary in front of me, but we are coming up. One more turn to go. We're 2 by 2 by 2. I feel like I'm commentating the dwarves. Is that the dwarves? Snow White's dwarves. 2 by 2.
I was going to say Noah's Ark, but I think we're on different pages.
This is absolutely true. But we are coming out to the start-finish line. We're going to watch it go green. Key one to watch is Chris Cooley. He's going to have the inside line coming into turn 1 here, or technically it's turn 2 if you count this little kink in the road. But we've just gone green. 59 minutes, 57 seconds to go. Coming in, Dink Donk screams away, gets a little bit of room on the inside. Breno Ellis allows him to take off. We've got cars running off wide, but everyone behaving themselves in the wet weather. Maybe a little bit more cautious. Weatherburn in this terrible weather, managing to seat himself comfortably in 4th at the moment. Yep, sitting in 5th. Drop 1 position, but we've got a Ferrari, an Audi, an Aston, and a Ford, all in the top 4. 2 Fords, in fact, up here. Restricted be damned. Coming into a very tight, twisty, turny section of track. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This track is tight, but this is such a lovely corner. Bit of camber in the wet, a little bit of a dry line starting to form for those at the back of the pack. We've got 2 wide coming through this section. Unbelievable. No one's knocked into each other. I don't want to jinx it, but this is incredible racing so far. Very tame.
Yeah, these drivers are absolutely proving us wrong at the moment as we come through the Britain chicane tight once again, bumpy over the curbs, try and stay off them in the wet as we come through one of the only straights into the Hislops chicane. Little right, left, right kink. It looks like everyone is still managing to keep it clean. A little bit of congestion further back there coming into that chicane. Ooh, a little bit of a bump there. I think that was Teo in the Ferrari. Everyone's still managing to keep it clean. We're nearly going 2 wide through some of these kinks. It's not easy to do. That Mercedes is going to end up on that curb. That curb will absolutely spit you up if you are not careful. But yeah, Mansell in P7 there in the BMW, second in silver class. I think there was 3 silver class drivers starting in the top 10. So I think someone might have had a little bit of a bad time in the first couple of corners.
Yeah, Justman's actually gained a spot there for sure, but we've just had the fastest lap set, obviously. First lap done and dusted for Chris Cooley. Be interesting to see where these wet times sit, and this is definitely going to separate a bit of skill level here. We are coming down into Druids now, this very interesting section of track. There's no way that you can use your brakes over the water. Lamborghini goes skating through, manages not to hit a single pin, not even going to be a spare. We like to see that. Some clever avoidance from everyone there. This is not Watkins Glen. Please don't go bowling.
Yeah, good avoidance there from the BMW as Mansell just gets a little bit of slide there up behind Mateen, I think that is. That sounds like another new name that I'm not used to seeing in here.
So lovely to see the versatility and the breadth of cars that we can get in ACC all coming in tonight. We're on here with Mateen from the Vicol Esports team, car 310, the McLaren. Coming in, a little bit of a gap forming now between that's Weatherburn and Justman leading that little posse of cars. But we're seeing Mateen just not far enough forward to make a move. Not quite just taking a peek under the spoiler there, but is driving very consistently. Got to think that the Mac is going to perform pretty well as this race goes on. Fords aren't typically the best come the end of the race, but we're seeing a bit of jostling here from Zach Warren, and it looks like Barker up there on the inside, but Barker's just dropped back. Oh no, sorry, that's Simon. Oh, shut up, I'm doing that. We're all over the place, but there you go. That shows how easy it is just to drop positions if you just miss the tarmac there. But there you go, 138 for Cooley, now starting to lay down the pace.
Yeah, a few seconds off the qualifying time, probably about 5 seconds there with the track. Nice and wet. Looking at the weather forecast, it looks like it's actually going to start to dry up a little bit, and then we've got some more heavy rain coming in the next 30 minutes. So might get a little bit tricky for these drivers. If the track actually does start to dry up and we need to look at moving back to slicks, it's going to be a case of whether you hang on to it or whether this next set of rain will come fast enough. As we see Giacomin right on the back of Ellis. Ellis defends the inside through Island Bend. Going to try and push him the long way around, and he's then going to hold the position. Giacomin starts to stay behind through the nicely cambered Shell Oils hairpin. Giacomin right over the back of Ellis. The Ferrari's going to be loving this wet weather. The Audi, I imagine, he is going to be very, very careful with his pedals and steering wheel, trying to keep that Audi in a straight line, and making sure he doesn't just stare in his mirror at Giacomin. He's not one that is easy to distract, as Giacomin trying to, it looks like Ellis maybe looking for a bit of wet track there. I wonder if he's got
just
his
about to say.
Yeah, he might have his pressure set a little bit too high there. So on top of it driving the Audi at Alton Park in the rain, he's also got to try and keep on top of his tyres with a Giacomin right on the back of his car.
Such a stressful mechanic in ACC. These these tire pressures. It's very not necessarily unique to ACC, but I think the management of the PSIs, in particular, how they make the car react to the road and the driving style and everything that's going on around you. It can become so stressful for anyone that was a part of the Silverstone 12-hour enduro late last year. I think myself, JC, maybe a couple other cars, we all managed to get punctures during the race, courtesy of our tyre pressures skyrocketing, trying to run wets into the ground. It can be quite a stressful thing. You lose all sense of grip, you have no idea what you're doing, you question all life choices. It's a pretty terrible outcome for something as simple as just having your pressures up too high.
Yeah, I think you can look back at the duos race at Monza if you want to talk about running wets into the ground. I think almost every car there ended up with a puncture. First time for myself getting a puncture as well. So these wets will not hang on forever. You can run them as long as you want, but eventually they will give up. They will have had enough. So you can't just sit on them forever if the track does dry up. But I have a feeling we're probably going to stay wet, I think. But it will be one to watch out for sure. And watching this weather forecast as we see Giacomin just moving around a little bit behind Bruno Ellis there, just showing the nose, making sure that he's still aware that he is behind him with that bright red Ferrari. Going to be very hard to really miss him, I think, anywhere along this circuit. Weatherburn tucked up behind Justman there. That train looks like it's just extending a little bit, so Justman, I think his tyres might have come up to pressure and is able just to run away a little bit. Oh, so to say that, he's gone way too deep into the Hislop chicane through Knickerbrooker, and that is going to put Weatherburn right on the back of this Mustang again. The Mustang, nice and taily, does not like the rain too much and does not like its rear tyres either. So if your tyres are under pressure, there's an easy way to get them back up. But yeah, the Mustang going to be a little bit hairy as well, and that's going to be the McLaren of Mateen just sitting up behind there, just waiting for the sparks to fly in, just in case something happens.
Absolutely. As we just see the BMW of Mansell there nearly sideways. Giacomin makes the move, goes around the outside, coming up under Warwick Bridge, through Lodge Corner, into the main straight of Deer Leap. Going into Old Hall Corner here, going to have the inside run, but there's a bit of contact, pushes Breno wide, manages to run away with it. You've got to think that will be a penalty, not enough room left, perhaps just a little bit of understeer. Giacomin, typically a very, very aggressive but very good racer. Just a little bit of room left, but that understeer, that slide in the wet, so tough, and Breno comes off second best.
Yeah, it looks like Breno just had the run out of Lodge Corner, and the Ferrari there of Giacomin just had the nose alongside barely, and there's not much of a braking zone into Old Hall Corner there, so maybe just sent in a little bit quick trying to get an overlap, and maybe just ran it a bit hot, unfortunately bumping Bruno Ellis out there. But we will send that one to our lovely stewards, who will be for sure jumping on that one and getting that one sorted out.
Yeah, keep us tuned in the chat how that one went. But we are looking at the two Mustangs here, the Mustang Ford-on-Ford action. We've got Weatherburn still sitting behind Justman, managed to get pretty close into Sector 3, coming up Clay Hill into Druids Corner just before, but at the moment, sitting tucked in behind. It seems like they're pretty evenly matched through Sector 1. It was through Hislop chicane that that Justman made a little bit of a mistake before. So it'll be interesting to watch the two of them come up here. We are on board with the McLaren of Mateen at the moment, just watching this action from behind. behind. You got to think when you're in this position, you're looking for any opportunity to try and get a 2-for-1 sale on an overtake, right? You're looking for the two of them. No, we don't want them to take each other out, but you're looking for have a bit of a jostle, something that just allows you to sneak past them through. But you can't afford to drop back because then you miss that opportunity. Really, really tough position to figure out, and it's definitely something that you just learn from hours and hours and hours in the seat.
Yeah, for sure. It's even worse there when you're sitting in the middle. So Weatherburn is looking ahead, he's looking behind, he's watching both sides. We did see some yellow flags there in the Knickerbrook chicane. I think we're going to get a replay up of that one for you in a moment. Yeah, Weatherburn is going to be looking in front, he's going to be looking behind as we see this replay here. Looks like we've got the McLaren and the Ferrari there. The Ferrari just gets very deep, misses his braking marker, and just turns that McLaren around. Another tap on the way past for good luck. That is not the place you want to be sitting in the middle of the track. It looks like we have good avoidance from everyone there to get past the McLaren. Oh, Weatherburn's made a mistake, and that has allowed Justman, I think. I don't know if he made a mistake or if Justman just had a move. Might be a little bit of a bump, and I think that's through the Shell Oil's hairpin. Going to escort him back out wide, and he will maintain that place. That's going to allow Mansell up as well, so I would love to see what happened there, whether Weatherburn made a mistake or if Justman was close enough to have a look.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as well. We've got the track drying out, so whether the weather will affect Weatherburn will be a very interesting next few. I could not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But we have got Mansell here. Our man from sitting on the tail, has dropped back a little bit coming out of, I believe that was Hislop chicane into Knickerbrook, but we are seeing the move here put on. It's such a hard corner there to try and figure out where to go, especially when you get stuck on the outside. A valiant move from Mateen, but Weatherburn just too good there. Manages to get up the inside, use all of that camber to maintain the pace and get some clean air again. Mind you, this all the way through this third sector of the track, we are seeing Mateen just show the nose. Here, we're going to see him come up the main straight through Deer Leap into Old Hall Corner, but Weatherburn is defending like a lion there, keeping Mateen behind him. And also Mateen, this is the hard part about when someone's defending really well. You drop back, you lose time, the pressure's on. You want to get the move done because you know you're faster, but you do have to sit behind, be patient, and really be selective about when you make that move.
Yeah, and one of the tracks like this as well, you kind of have to just kind of wait there and not quite force him, not force him off the road, but just put your nose there and try and force a mistake on his own, on Weatherburn's own part there. So as we see him a little bit slowed up into the Shell Oil hairpin, the McLaren are going to be a little bit quicker through there, but just doesn't have the traction, doesn't get a run anywhere. These straights just not long enough either. So he's going to have his work cut out for him as Weatherburn goes a little bit wide there through the chicane, through the Britain chicane. He's going to get the run side by side. It's up Clay Hill, up Hilltop into the Hislop chicane, and that is going to be moved on there for Mateen. That is up into 5th place, and that is going to leave Mansell right on the back, getting very squirrely there through Knickerbrook, just making sure to stay off the curb. As he does get over that curb, that's going to get Weatherburn alongside as he managed to hold it off. Very good driving there, right on the limit for both of these guys.
Yeah, the one thing that you really can't do in that McLaren is hit curbs, and Mateen hit just about all of them coming through that little chicanery section. We got the fastest lap for Chris Hewley, now improving it. Oh, God, where's Lucas Keys when you need him? It's a 1:37.77777. So many sevens. But Chris Hewley laying down the law there, now has an 11.6 second gap to Gia Coman in fresh, clean air. Is going to come up on the first back marker of car 9 relatively soon. But we've seen Mateen also just drop back behind the car of Weatherburn, the Mustang. Resurged. Mate, these Mustangs are so good out of the turns. You have to be so perfect in the McLaren to maintain that advantage. Use all of the pointiness of your car to try and stay ahead. But we're seeing everything. Weatherburn's gone. He's down. Damo Mansell, a man on the ground. He's come and made the move there. Got it done in the Beamer. Around the inside, I believe it was, coming up into the strong cambered section. We're going to get a bit of a replay already. Weatherburn off wide, world's most expensive lawnmower. I didn't know Ford made them, but here he is in the old Ford livery, going to mow a lawn.
Yeah, all the way out through Cascades. I wonder if he just went in a little bit deep and fell off of that camber. And looks like he's still dropping position there. He's got to regain himself and get back into his groove there. And he's just sort of jumped back into the middle of a train. All these drivers behind him are very feisty to try and get ahead with the Porsche there of, I want to say, that is not Warren. The Porsche behind again. That leaderboard doing me dirty. There we go, ready for that leaderboard to update. Yeah, just falling back into the middle of the train there. The drivers behind him really eager to try and get ahead. So, yeah, I think he must have just fallen out of that rhythm, and he's going to have to compose himself and get back into that rhythm and find that pace again.
Have a go at the battle pack, mate. Between we got Mansell all the way through to Turabank, less than a second between cars 6th and 11th position. That is immense racing. What a tight little battle pack here at Oulton Park. This is exactly what this obstacle course, what this racetrack encourages. It's unbelievably tight, and we're seeing some good racing here coming back. A resurgence from Breno Ellis coming back for vengeance. We still haven't got a penalty for Giacomin. Interesting to see if any of the stewards are in the racetrack. In the comments. Can you let us know what's going on the racetrack? Have we got some penalties coming for Giacomin, or have we just written it off as a racing incident?
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see for that one. The steward's definitely working long and hard on that, as we do see a 15-second penalty for Rosser back there in P17. But yeah, these guys are doing very well to keep this close together, but that is exactly what you expect to see here at Oulton Park. That is Johnson there in the Porsche. Looks like he might be getting a run. The Porsche in the wet is going to be great, getting runs out of corners. Looks to show the nose. Is he going to be far off alongside? Oh, Weatherburn going deep, and that is going to invite Johnson back along. He's not. He's going to shut the door there. Will he be able to keep the position? Oh no, he goes round! Oh no.
Jacob, you were doing so well, my man. Oh. So unlucky. I guess that settles it. Whether the weather or despite the weather, we've seen Weatherburn get a little bit withered. That's the best I could do. Too many W's, man. This is like a tongue twister. Thanks, I'll take it. But it's no good from Weatherburn. Well fought. Very, very hard to maintain under all of that pressure. But speaking of pressure, we are seeing Giacomin come under pressure here, 0.6 behind. We're going to watch Weatherburn. This is the start of the mistake here, Liam. We've got him running wide there, a little bit squirrely on exit. Too much right foot. It's that big pedal there. You don't want to tap too much of it because this happens. And possibly a little bit of a netcode knock, I think I saw on the door from the... Oh, no, we're seeing some jostling here as well. That's not a Kodak moment. Put it away.
Yeah, I think he got a bit of assistance there going around, but yeah, the Porsche behind there of Johnson just not expecting, obviously, the Mustang to light up its rears and end up 45 degrees in front of him facing across the circuit. I think that one's going to be play on from what I've seen, as we see Carl Johnson get all the way out of the Shellwell's hairpin. That is going to invite Barker back along the inside, and he's going to get ahead of him. This race is getting very explosive as we are now 15 minutes deep.
Yeah, absolutely. All of these drivers now... beginning to let the thoughts creep in, the demons creep in, the tyre PSI demons. As we see, it's another 10 minutes or so until more rain. So we're going to have to try and make these tyres last. Now we're going to see them start to look for the wet patches while we see this really, really in-depth dry line form. We're back on board here watching Mateen just hunt down Justman, the Ford that came off better before than Weatherburn. But this nice little graffiti-esque livery from Mateen is staying hard on the tail, looking for any way around, perhaps taking a tip from the Porsche that we saw before. If you can't go around them, can't go on, just go through them. But here we are seeing them form that tight little battle pack. Our man Mansell there, running a little bit wide, looking for a little water on that main straight there into turn 1 of Old Hall Corner and up the avenue. The three of them, little battle pack, less than a second between the three cars. Unbelievable driving consistency and precision, finding their brake markers, staying nice and close. So much going on at any given point in time. Don't crash, don't die, don't hit the car in front. Stay alive, and you've still got 42 minutes and 50 seconds to go.
Yeah, I think you've covered about just about everything these drivers need to keep on top of there. Just cross them all off the list. And just to add to that, the track has now gone damp, like you mentioned, so that dry line coming across, we're going to see another replay here. Is that going to be Barker having a snap and exiting stage right? See you later. That is not the layout that we are using tonight. That's the one that we took last night in AC Evo. We need to go around to the left there, not straight.
Can somebody make a meme of that Milwaukee car spinning out? I'm sure to God, Makeda. What's the Bunnings? Is it Ryobi? Is
DeWalt?
the old Bunnings? Oh, DeWalt.
Yeah.
Should have gone to DeWalt.
Oh no. Oh jeez.
Yeah, that's the wrong drill bit, unfortunately, there for the Milwaukee car going off. Spinning, taken, as you said, the AC Evo line yesterday. We're going to see a little bit of a replay here of the AMG coming up the inside. No, nothing forcing that error. Make the
gap. Make the gap.
Oh, so close. So close. Would have been a bit of precision driving there. Unfortunately, not tonight. A little bit of a gentle wall tap there coming off second best. But we are back on board with Breno in the Logitech G's car here. But geez, he's got some pace on him. Managing to catch back up to Ellis after that brief lawnmower. Taking a little bit of advice from Loopty. We are going to get another replay of another AMG not loving the wet. We are seeing cars shooting off everywhere in all the screens. I don't know how Benny Hignet's keeping it together. There's so much going on. We're going to watch Ryan Anderson here take, we'll just call it a less desirable line here. Look at this, and just goes sliding off.
Oh, wait, I think there's more if I saw correctly.
What was the old commercials? Okay, Liam, you're not going to know this because it does predate you, but it was like Delcom, I think it was but wait, there's more. Unbelievable little computer ad. Someone in the comments hit me up if you can remember exactly what
you
those
have
commercials
completely
were.
lost me there.
I think it was Delcom. I think so, but it was it was always our laptops do this, but wait, there's more. We've seen an AMG go off, but wait, there's more. There's a Lamborghini following fast.
Oh, let's stick to the racing. We're going to see another replay. Oh, just dropping the wheels. They're dropping like flies through Island Bend. Just dropping a wheel onto the grass there as that Ferrari, and around it goes. There is absolutely no saving that, as that is Mateen right up the back of Justman. That McLaren showing no mercy to the Mustang. So we come up here through Druids. There's not going to be a way to get past there. Going to nail the apex, nail the second apex, get a good run out of there. Not too much wheel spin. That is Mansell up on the curb as well in the BMW. Not the best rear grip in that car to begin with. This train is nice and close. Oh, Mansell closing in up into Lodge Corner. Watch the crest, watch the curb, watch all the wet, watch the dry, watch everything. Got to have eyes in the back of your head while you're going. Right up behind the back of Justman there. Justman trying to defend, trying to find the wet line, trying to keep his tyres under check. And looks like he's going to hold it on for another lap there. And that's also inviting, that is Warren back there up into this train as the rain has come back. We are going to, as the track just goes greasy, so it is just in time for these drivers to get a bit more water on the track and hopefully cool their tyres back down, because they are going to be screaming.
Absolutely. I just felt the sigh of relief across the entire field as our wets get to string along. We've got the next 30 minutes or so will be rain, leaving the last 9 minutes as open to interpretation at the moment as we come around Shell Oil's corner. It's funny, it's still Oil's corner, but it's probably the least slippery turn on the entire track with that massive camber. Such a pleasure to drive around. We see cars screaming through. I believe that's Britain Chicane just there shooting up the hill of Hilltop After into Hislop's up here. And Knickerbrook. I actually didn't know that this corner was called Knickerbrook. I still thought it was part of Hislop's complex, but there you go. Turn 12 is Knickerbrook, as you've correctly said. Say that 15 times fast. I'm sure we're going to leave that one out. But up here, coming up through Clay Hill, down into turn 14, which doesn't have a name. One of the only corners of the track that doesn't have a name. But we've got Water Tower and Druids Corner down here, the bottom section of the track into Warwick's Bridge. Really, really tight section. If you miss those brake markers, gone. If you use too much of the runoff, you're gone. If you don't use enough, you're seconds behind the competition. We are on board with Breno Ellis, still sitting really tight in. He has actually gained about 0.3 in the last lap on Giacomin, but it's a bit hard when they're running in this tight form. We're going to see that time jostle and jump around a fair bit. But Giacomin managing to hold it down, but has dropped a considerable amount of time to Cooley up the front there as well, who is now past his first back marker, coming up onto car 14. The second back marker looks like relatively quickly as well. Will be surging up the field before long.
Yeah, we had to see an Ellis close up to the back of Giacomin, so maybe one of these drivers had their tyre pressure set a little bit better for the track to dry out. So that might hurt them later on, because it looks like we're going to get a lot of rain there. It looks like on my cheat sheet I've got in front of me here, turn 14 is actually Water Tower. Oh, that is the Mustang. Was that Justman? I think that was going a bit wide through Island Bend. Oh my gosh, lucky to hang on to that one. Lucky to not send it through into the barrier, and that's going to put Justman up ahead. We're going to see instant replay running a bit wide, a bit wide. Thankfully not going for a spin, just dropping all four wheels onto the grass, and Mansell leaving a little bit of room there on the entrance for him to come back on. That is very nice, very clean driving from these drivers, just to keep it on, well, not to keep it on track, just to keep it all clean and allow a bit of room for everyone, and that's going to be play on.
Yeah, great racing there as well from Mansell. I think he knows sort of in the back of his mind that he's got the pace on Justman now, and Justman seems to be actually sort of a little bit squirrely looking on the track at the moment. Maybe something's off in that Ford. We're not sure. It could be the fact that it's not a Holden. Sorry. Not that they really exist anymore anyway, but, so we've got Mansell here coming up through under Warwick's Bridge, or using a little bit too much run for that grass, but managing to hold it together.
Yeah, these drivers are absolutely pushing the limits. The track has gone back to damp, so that rain is coming down and going to make everything nice and wet, which normally you would not be wanting that at all. You want to keep this track dry, but those wet tyres are going to be screaming, so they're going to be very happy to get some more water back on the track. Try and bring these pressures and these temperatures back down to something a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, Mansell using all of the circuit, as we're going to see another replay here. Looks like that is one of our Need for Speed looking cars trying to set it down the inside.
Oh, Dan Clark. I think that's Clarky.
Yeah, just going to give that Porsche a little bit of an assist off the track down there, and we'll leave that one to the stewards. Speaking of the stewards, we have not seen anything come in for Giacomin, so it looks like that one must have been play on there. I'd say he clearly got it stopped, and I would say that Ellis just turned down on him. Speaking of Ellis, we're still seeing him closed up towards the back of Giacomin, not able to get a move done, but also Giacomin not able to run away from the Audi. He's going to be sick of looking at that Logitech G Audi in his mirror at some point, not too far, in the not too distant future. Cutting back, gosh, so many battle packs. Cutting back to Mansell on the back of Jusman. That has allowed Mateen just to run away there. He's going to be very glad to get to the front of that train, and he's going to then chase off after Ellis and Giacomo. We'll see whether he's got the pace for that. Mansell up on the back of Justman there through Knickerbrooker. It goes a little bit wide, maybe just gets on the curb, manages to hold it through. So we're going to see another replay here of the 833 Aston Martin into Cascades, and also trying to, is that Cascades? Yeah, trying to take the AC Evo MX5 line there, just running out of that camber. Justman actually running away at the front, just pulling away from Mansell a little bit, and that's leaving him vulnerable to Warren in the Porsche behind. I wonder if he's just made a little bit of a mistake. I think that might have been what I saw there before we cut to that replay, just getting over the edge of that curb at Knickerbrooker, and that's going to basically end up doing like a Tony Hawk 50-50 grind on that curb. It's going to pick the front of the car up, it's going to bounce, it's going to do all sorts of horrible things. The only thing it's not going to do is let you accelerate up the clay hill towards Druids, which is the only thing you want to do at that point.
Great call on the 50-50. That's such a legacy memory. There's so many turns in like, or little curbs, particularly in LMU. Not so much in ACC, but you do get that grindy feeling across the top of it. You're like, ooh, 6 easy grind, but terrible for my pace. But yeah, I think Mansell had a little bit of a tail wagon moment in BMW. A great looking car, but not a great looking exit on one of those turns. I think it might have been in Sector 2 on the previous lap. But mate, we've got some comments coming through in the YouTube. We've seen a lot of lawnmowers. Is this an racing stream, or is this a Honda HR commercial? I really don't know, but it does feel like we're pushing lawnmowers rather than GT3 cars here tonight. Just goes to show how tough this track is. They're doing an unbelievable job continuing to lay down the time. Sponsored by Briggs & Stratton. Maybe some competition from Ryobi. Can we get in the chat maybe if we've got some people? I'm seeing messages coming everywhere. Anyone own an electric lawnmower? I did my time, served my sentence with one of those. I'll be going back. There's something just anxiety-inducing about possibly being able to run over my own cord. Don't really love that as a principle, but thankfully none of these GT cars are plug and play or had one. Hate being the key word. Yeah, 100%. Don't buy them.
Yeah, my father has got one at the moment, and it's a battery one, so you don't have to run over the cable, thank God. But it's fine because it's not mine, and I don't have to use it too much. But I think he likes it, so that's all that matters, right?
Hard facts. Should Liam mow the lawn more? Do we need to make a push?
This is not where I expected this discussion to be going tonight.
Hey, it's Thursday night. It's 9:46 p.m. Anything can happen. We've got 32 minutes left of this rainy race here at Alton Park. I know not many will be more frustrated than Chris Cooley, who did not want it to rain. Hasn't seemed to affect his ability to race. Got a 22-second lead over Giacomin now. Surging up through the field. You can see it on the track map on the right. If you're not familiar, it is that big-ass triangle coming up one of the back straights there. We call it a straight. It's barely a straight, but that's Alton Park for you. A little go-kart track. We are still on board with Ellis there, that was Breno Ellis, still just trying to find any kind of room on Giacomin, but levelling each other for pace at the moment. Man Mansell here as well, sitting nice and tucked into that little pack, has made up the difference in the gap back to Justman, who has fallen back a little bit defending to Mateen, surging off in that McLaren, driving really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. Marshy there just pointing out the groundskeepers will be happy. That is as long as these cars don't turn the grass into just mud, which I think is going to happen at this point, as we see Justman maybe a little bit slow out of Knickerbroker at Druids, wrong corner. That is going to be showing the nose towards the outside. Justman goes defensive into Lodge corner over the crest, coming through, not getting too much wheel spin. The big nasty grill of that BMW in the mirror. And he's going to defend towards the inside. He's going to close the door.
Wow.
Looks like he just cut off the nose there of Mansell, making sure he is not coming around the outside. No overlap for you, so you're going to have to stay back there for another lap. Coming down turn 2 into Cascades, and yeah, he's going to have to stay behind. He's going to have to do that work all over again just to get an overlap, let alone a move, as we see some yellow flags there for car 10, I think that is.
Yeah, this is amazing racing here from Damo. It's such an anxiety-inducing thing, but also, your heart's beating out through your chest. I don't think I've ever done anything else in my life that, you're sitting in your home office or wherever the hell your rig is, and you've got a heart rate of like 140, 145. I don't know if many other people wear like a little heart rate monitor while you're racing, but geez, it can shoot up in these moments. You feel it in the back of your throat, you hear your heartbeat in your ears, you're trying to look for any way past, and you're just trying not to make a mistake as well and sacrifice all the good work you've done up until this point. But I've seen a photo of Damo's rig. Mate, he's locked in. You compare it to my rig, compare it to many other rigs of OOR, Damo's in the zone. He's practically got a car sitting in his living room at home. So an amazing, amazing rig. And, mate, he's using it like I never would. He's just driving so well at the moment. The Aussie sim racer sitting there, car 28, doing the Lord's work at the moment, trying to work up through the pack. We're on board with Roy Ankin here as well in the Neon car 10. Shoots a little bit too wide and spins out. No good. That's a backwards facing backup.
Yeah, we're going to see as part of the replay as well, Damiano. No, we just cut away from that one. I was going to say, surely Damiano, getting awfully close there, down into turn 1. Mansell looking to go around the outside all corner, and that is going, Justman's going to hold it out, and that is going to be stuck behind for another lap. Mansell's going to be getting probably a little bit frustrated here there, just with, he's got the speed, he's trying to get the overlap, but just no way through, and that's just costing him more and more time, and Warren still there waiting for anything to possibly happen. This here DT for Carl Johnson. I wonder if that was from possibly speeding in the pit lane, as if these drivers didn't have enough to contend with. We see some more yellow flags at the Shell Oil hairpin. Be careful down there, guys. These drivers have to worry about pit stops as well, so it's all going to go on here soon.
Yeah, I don't think there's a mandatory stop though tonight, but many of them would have been budgeting in for the fact that it was variable weather. It was anyone's call as to whether or not it was going to rain, come dry, or whichever. So many of the drivers last night only took a fraction of the amount of fuel that they needed for the race so that they could afford that pit stop. Be interesting to see whether or not we do get anyone have hit late in the piece here, as we know it's rained to the end. We're watching an Aston Martin go spinning off there. We've seen this so many times. Oh no. Oh, I don't think they're teammates, but we've got two very similar looking liveries. You can't park there.
That is a sad koala for sure. And as I was just looking on our other screen there, I see there's some more battling going on between Mateen and Justman. Still not a change for position, I think. Wait, didn't Justman run away? Has something happened there?
Mateen's come back. Biggie, Iggy, we're going to have to get you on the cams there. I know you're already doing like 45 things at once. You've got a third arm, I think, the amount of work that you do across two PZs at the moment. But, mate, we've got to figure out what happened there to Mateen and how that's dropped back. But Mansell now ahead as well. So Mateen's dropped 2 solid spots there after building up an almost 2-second lead.
Yeah, I think the McLaren, I think Mateen had sort of built up a big lead here. It's come down into Cascades, running a bit wide, missed his braking marker off the camber, into the grass. There's another one trying to take the AC Evo line. So he had a big, probably 5 or 6 second lead there by the looks of it, and all of that just suddenly evaporated and put him right back in the middle of that pack. So he's going to now have to sort of remember what he was doing and try and get back into his rhythm and deal with the cars ahead of him now. He's gone from free air back into the middle of a pack, and And Marshy's waiting for the Koala Atmos Motorsport debrief. It is going to be an interesting one to be a fly on the wall there. But yeah, Mateen just now back in that pack. He's going to have Mansell back in front of him, and he's going to be back in the spray as well. So he's going to have to readjust here and make sure that he is able to readjust back to being in that battle.
Yeah, so much happening at any given point in time here. We're on board with Zach Warren as well now at the back of this battle pack. But mind you, he's only got a car, Turo Bank, sitting 0.6 behind him as well. So you're still keeping an eye on that rear vision mirror. You can't afford to miss the brake markers or something in front of you. You know, there's so much going on and there's so many different lines you can take, especially now with this wet and dry line coming in. We are going to see some drivers take those alternate lines just to try and keep those tyre pressures down, get them reset. These tyres will be hurting, but thankfully wets last a little bit longer, a little bit better than dries when they're in their native conditions. Turo dropping back just a touch there, dropped 0.4 in the last 2 turns. So easy to make a mistake and drop back, particularly there through Druids and Warwick. As you get a little bit of a run out of Druids, so if you stuff it up, you do tend to sacrifice into Lodge Corner.
Yeah, certainly. And as if there wasn't enough going on already, the gap between Ellis and Giacomo in there is just over half a second. So Ellis is right on the back of that bright red Ferrari. So that one's been going on for most of this race as well. So battle for the podium as well as sort of more towards the back of the middle of the top 10. So it is all going on, as we see then also at the back of the top 10, sort of around that P10, P11. There's another fight going on there by the looks of it. So pretty much most of these cars within a couple of seconds, except for Cooley, who has completely run away at the front. Nothing in sight for him.
Nothing in sight. He's just cruising. I'll bet he's probably there singing to himself, maybe a nice cup of tea on the side, celebrating his British heritage, enjoying a very British track and a very British summer.
Is he even worrying about the race at this point? He's just on autopilot, right?
Possibly not. He might actually be asleep at the wheel. We don't know. Someone confirm. Someone go check up on Dink Donk there, our man. Down in the more regional areas of Victoria, running through some photos of the Aurora the other night, which may have got him in the right headspace. Some lights in the sky. Perhaps he saw his way through the pack and away from the field here as we're 21 laps into this race. Perhaps he saw it in the sky then that it was going to rain the entire time and he was going to shoot away. So we see the back of Justman's car. We're on board with the wing. We've got a non-regulation wing there. Very sorry, Blake, but you'll see most of our other cars here tonight. If Benny Hignett can give us a little bit of a view of one of our other fancy schmancy sport.
Oh, even better. How
That's
amazing.
perfect. No remarks, no comments, no changes. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Which is a great time to mention the incredible sponsorship that Thermaltake have for our wonderful, wonderful sprint and weeknight series here. Thermaltake have been so supportive as they've broken into the Australian and worldwide sim racing market with their incredible tech. Done so much for us so far. We also have a bit of a giveaway. There's a voucher going out. I believe it's $50 going out to one driver from any of the OOR series every single week. So stay tuned. We will be spinning the wheel tonight. But, you know, also just massive kudos to Thermaltake for all they're doing. Fantastic support of a local Aussie league, not just raced in by Australian drivers. Fair few internationals that do dial in for these events, as you see by some of the pings on your screen here tonight. But yeah, absolutely incredible support. Thanks so much for all you're doing, Thermaltake. And I believe we've also got a Thermaltake Overtake of the Week coming up as we just see an AMG go shooting off to the right.
Looks like a car, I think that might be. Getting out of the way there. That is certainly one way to do it. Just throw yourself off the circuit. Yeah, shout out to Thermaltake. Could not have said it better myself. Very nicely read there. I've been keeping an eye on Mateen the last couple of laps. It looks like he's struggling there. Although I say that, it looks like he's come back, but he was struggling there a bit. Maybe he's been a bit spooked by his excursion at turn 3 there over at Cascades. Just missing some apexes and making a few mistakes, allowing Warren on the back. But it looks like he's now caught back right on the back of Mansell there. Looks like he's going to try and show the nose towards the outside. Mansell going defensive into Old Lodge Corner. Zach Warren there getting a nice big run on the brakes, closing into the back of this train. It is still all to play for here with everyone moving around. Also, the track is now back up to wet, so these tyres should be back to where they want to be. That is a very sideways. Mansell. Big slide there through turn 3, through Cascades, and manages to hang on to it, and somehow Mateen, two M's there. Somehow Mateen did not manage to close up to the back of him there, so very well held on that one. That was going to be a big spooky brown pants moment.
Yeah, unbelievable. Mansell just wanting to get a look at his pursuer there of Mateen and wanted to do it out the passenger window. That's one way to definitely check what's going on behind you. An incredible catch and save from him in the beamer. My goodness.
Oh, don't make me laugh like that with a mouthful of beer.
We are doing our Thursday night beers as we are trying to. You reckon 3 weeks is tradition? 2 weeks is just happenstance, but I think 3 weeks is tradition. I will be here next Thursday with a beer. So, hey, come on in, crack a beer with Liam and I, and let's watch some racing. We've got 21 minutes, 44 seconds left in this race, mate. It's anyone's game from here. Well, sorry. It's Chris Hewley's game from here, but, you know, there's still a lot to play for outside of pro class, and even in the second and third position, as we see Breno still 0.4 behind Giacomin. Such a hard track to pass at. I was actually going to ask, in racing, it's one of those things that, you know, you get like the PTSD of stuffing up a corner from your last laps. How do you address that when you're coming through? Let's say you're coming through on a lap, you've mucked up, let's just say Lodge corner, the final corner before the main straight, you know, unless you count Deer Lead. But you stuff up that on the previous lap. You're coming in again. You're in a train. You're 0.4 behind the car in front, and you've got that PTSD living fresh in your brain. How do you tackle that? How do you overcome that and then actually try and take that corner well?
Gee, that is a tough one. I'll come back to that in a second. I just want to touch on quickly. If anything does happen to Cooley, we know where to send the hate mail. I think Matt there is going for the curse. So keep an eye on that one as this race comes to a close. I think, yeah, that is a tough one. As silly as it sounds, you kind of just have to compartmentalize that thought and just kind of put it to the side. Remember your rhythm. I'm very much like a rhythm driver. I love having that focus and just getting almost that muscle memory of the track. And so you're not really thinking about where you're braking. You're kind of just used to it. So if you do make a bit of an error, it absolutely can play on your mind for the next couple of laps there. Try not to make the same mistake again. But you really just have to put that beside you and put that out of your mind and just kind of get back into your rhythm, get that groove and focus back on what you're doing.
Yeah, which we are seeing here from Justman quite well. Hasn't had the cleanest last couple of laps, hence the bit of a train forming behind him of a handful of silvers of Pro-Am. And well, there's 2 Pro-Ams if you sort of count it, but Kiri is 6 seconds back to Rosser, who is 4 seconds back. But yeah, you've really got to compartmentalize, just try and move on, focus on exactly what you're doing and just rely on your instinct, right? You know what you're doing. You know how to track well. You got to send it all behind you. Well, at least that's what you're supposed to do. I never seem to be able to do it quite that well. It just haunts me and like almost lives like a burned-in image on my old Retina screen. But hey, we're watching Zach Warren here. Massive, massive run under the brakes every single lap into Old Hall Corner. Catches up on Mateen, but then drops back as the pointiness of Mateen's Macca tends to get the better of Warren's Porsche through the turns of Denton's, Cascades, and Lakeside Straight.
Yeah, I think to touch on your point there from a second ago, he just thinks just don't make a mistake, just keep it on track.
That makes sense. I haven't tried that.
That does help. But yeah, this battle there, we see Turab Bank looks like he's closing on the back of this train as well. So all this fighting, well, I say fighting, Turab is right there. So basically adding another carriage onto the back of that Mustang train. So now Turab is almost in with the chance of getting into that 4th position should anything come to blows for these drivers ahead. We know it does not take much. This grass is extra slippery. As we see, the Mustang going defensive a little bit on Mansell. No move there. Turab Bank showing the nose on Warren, but again, nothing to be done there. Everyone just trying to, this is what I mean when I say you just got to upset the driver in front of you. Just show the nose, just put the car somewhere they can see you, which is not where they're expecting. And Mateen going a little bit wide on that curve there, being careful. That is going to invite Warren up to close in on him, but you're not going to have a look there at Druids unless you are very, very brave or stupid. We'll leave these guys to make up their mind which one they are currently on that. So everyone keeping it clean. Yeah, you can see he's lost about a second there just by running wide on that curb. And Zach Warren is all over the back of this McLaren there, which is going to be a bit of a shame. He's going to be frustrated with himself for sure, considering he was up probably 4 or 5 second lead gap over these drivers. He's going to be frustrated. He's going to be fuming with himself.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to drop time in any car running wide Kane, but especially in that McLaren. Hates curbs on the best of days and the best of tracks. So tough there as we are watching Mansell. Got to think at this point he's looking to give a full exam to Justman. Mate, I've never seen anyone stare at the one exhaust pipe for that long, but he's looking to give him the full treatment here as we watch Mateen. Mateen and Bank going on the inside of the Porsche. Oh my
That
goodness,
was,
we're seeing another Porsche spin out. We're going too wide through the Shell Oil corner hairpin. The two of them using all of the bank there. Mateen manages to keep a hold of it and keep Warren behind him. Sorry, Benny, I know that we've seen things going on, but we can't look.
Yeah, I was just watching. There was just off to the side there. We've got another screen up here in the combo. Thank you, Mr. Hignett, for all of the hard work there. And there was, we'll wait to see this replay. There's going to be some big invoices coming from that one, I think. Maybe not penalty invoices, just invoices in car repairs. There was a big shot there and a lot of yellow flags. So we'll wait to see a replay of that, of what exactly happened. But this gap up towards the top of this field is just ebbing and flowing. It looks like it has actually, everyone's kind of grown and expanded now. So as we see, we're going to get a replay up of that one there for you in a moment, but it does not look good. That is going to be a hairy one. Yeah, this train is actually kind of separated now. They're all kind of falling apart a little bit as we see the replay here of Turabank coming into Cascades corner. Porsche looks like it's just going to get loose on him, and he's going to go for a half spin and manages to come back the other way. But unfortunately, there, got to make sure that you watch the rejoin and keep it nice and safe. And I've already seen this one here, and yeah. Ooh. Oh, Damiano!
So hurtful.
Oh, Damiano getting caught up in that as well.
I think Thurk's caught one in LMU tonight as well. I did hear Austin scream out over our VC earlier that Thurks had possibly copped it. Not your night, Damiano. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You know, we push on, right? These rejoins, you really be careful. The cars are so easy to spin in these conditions. We are on board with a really lovely livery here. Actually, I quite like the floral stuff, but we're seeing that clip. Oh, it's so minor. It's so minor, but it does send you flying. It's so unlucky to be involved in that. Very unlucky.
Yeah, tantalizing close to make it through unscathed, and just wrong place at the wrong time. He just got the tiniest of bump and put him out on the grass. And as we've seen time and time again tonight, that ice is basically an ice rink at this point, and there was nothing that Damiano could really do there, especially with the engine way out the back in that Porsche.
Yeah, you're a passenger princess at that point. You're sitting there, you're waiting on everyone around you, and unfortunately you come off second best. No bueno.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see Ellis now 3 tenths away from the back of Giacomin. This battle has basically not gone anywhere this entire race. I think Bruno's going to be like shutting his eyes tonight to go to sleep, and he's just going to have the imprint of a Ferrari in the back of his eyelids, I think. He is going to be absolutely sick of the back of this Ferrari here. And we might see, actually we won't see it from Bruno Ellis there, but he's going to be getting a little bit desperate there, and we can see sometimes getting towards the end of the race, trying to get a move in, and things may come to blow. Hopefully we don't see that tonight, but he's going to be looking for any single small opportunity to try and get past this Ferrari.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually looking down at my track map here. We've got Chris Cooley in a little bit of lapped traffic. They are letting him pass, but he is having a bit of a hard time. He's been in that little pack longer on my little track map here than what I thought he would be. But seems to have made it clear. Look at the steez and the calm, collected approach of this bloke. Just an unbelievably quick driver, in control of his machine here. Makes it look so easy. But, you know, we're back on board with the people who are doing an incredibly good job, but making it look as difficult as it is, which is only fair. We're going to see a bit of a replay here as well. Watching just a beautiful Kodak moment here, stopped parked side on here at Alton Park.
That is not Chalmers' Kodak moment right there.
No, we'll be looking to forget that one. As we see Mateen here defending hard from Warren, but hitting all of the curb. You can't do that. Porsche's going to take it a bit better.
Out wide.
Running wide.
Oh, no! Oh, that was a save from. That was that Warren?
Oh,
no.
Interesting. No. That's the Porsche there. It looks.
I think that's a lap car, is it?
I think it's a lap car. Okay, cool. I was about to say we'd be hoping there that Mateen would give that position back, but it does seem like a lapped car, so I think we're okay.
Yeah, I was looking at the leaderboard trying to make sense of that. I'm thinking I have only had one beer, so I shouldn't be missing anything quite that badly yet. But where's there a sudden car? Yeah, that blue flag car is going to be very scared. He's going to have eyes the size of dinner plates looking at back of that. Yeah, the McLaren and Mateen's getting on the curb. Oh, that is very close. Does he keep it on the track? He goes a little bit wide, but does not manage to spin it. Well held by the blue flag car there to avoid that one. And yeah, Mateen just getting away with that one.
Oh, mate, absolutely. This race has been brutal, says Blake in the YouTube chat. That's so right. Been so tough. We've also got Simon there with a DT falling back through the field. But a quick call, we've got some people. Actually, I owe an apology before. I was calling the car number 7 the Beamer of Mike Rosser. I was actually thinking that was Dan Clark, but it is Mike Rosser in the Beamer tonight, carrying a 10-second penalty, but is sitting up there inside the top 10. Great racing so far. He's using Dan Clark's livery in my defence. But, very stylish look there on the silver car of Mike Rosser.
Yeah, with the livery that good, I'd try and steal that one myself if I could. As a very classy looking livery.
Too right.
Yeah, this train with Mansell there right up behind Justman. I feel like I've been saying that the whole race, and I think we realistically have been. You cannot find a way past. We're going to see another replay here coming into that is Lodge Corner, the Ferrari down the inside, Ferrari on Ferrari sadness. We see that car gets spun. Was that the 711? Did I see there? Was that Taufik? Where is Taufik? He's in P9. I would expect him to be high. I don't know what he's doing. He's not having a night.
Yeah, no good. We don't know who that was. It might have been, I don't even know. It could have been Barker, Simon, or Rosser back there. Callum Rosser, not Mike Rosser up there in the top 10. But we are seeing nearly alongside goes the BMW, defending so hard is Justman, managing to keep him behind. Mansell being very, very patient, but you've got to think he's at the end of his tether, looking for any way past. Still got 10 minutes, 50 seconds to do it. But man, it's hard because every time he makes a move and doesn't get it done on the car in front of Justman, the Ford, he is losing time to Warren's Porsche just behind him. We're seeing the car. This is 117 Ferrari just go off. Oh, we've seen it so many times before.
Oh, Damiano again. Oh my gosh, he's going to be absolutely terrified. He's going to have PTSD from that first one. He is going to be, and I'm seeing a chat, Giacomo made a mistake.
Giacomo died. Giacomo died. We're just hearing from Cam Thistlewaite in chat here. Can we get a bit of a replay on that whenever you can, Benny Hignett? We're asking a lot of you tonight, mate. This must be tough to keep up.
He is earning his money tonight for sure, which is a shame.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
all get nothing out of this. But we're making him work anyway. He's working nice and hard behind the cameras there. Don't you worry. I'm seeing the preview off to the left-hand side of our screen, and it is changing constantly. So he is working very hard behind the camera to bring us these amazing shots of these GT3 cars at this go-kart, Alton Park tonight.
It's too right. It brings me back. Have you seen Zoolander? Surely. Surely. Yeah. What is this? A track for ants? This is ridiculous watching these massive GT try and go around this track in any kind of style. In the dry, it's carnage, but in the wet here, it's something altogether different. But this little train here has been such a constant for our race, and it speaks to the intensity of the battling that Rosser has managed to catch up. We're seeing G. Coman here coming up through Druids in the third sector of the track under Warwick Bridge. Yeah, we've seen it. So, oh my God, just wanted to wave goodbye to Breno there before he shot off for the night. No good, but I think he's avoided massive damage there. Quite sure, but it looks like he might have got away with that one, just dropping back.
Yeah, I think so. As I'm seeing, it looks like he's been able to avoid contacting the barriers there. As we were looking over that, I saw another yellow flag pop up on screen there. So it's still not over. There's 8 minutes left to go, and I think these guys are going to be tired now. As we see Mansell showing the nose as we come into the Britain chicane, not able to make a move, and just putting the nose in the wrong spots cost him a little bit of a gap. These guys are going to be on the end of their tethers here for sure. They're going to be looking for any small sniff or an invitation to poke the nose down the inside. They are going to be all very, very racy here. There's a couple of drive-throughs towards the back of the field. I'm not sure if that's going to be track limits or if there's some naughtiness that has been punished from the stewards. Oh, Mansell with another big slide. That is another big slide there through Knickerbrook. That is going to invite Zach Warren to show the nose up Clay Hill. He's going to try and defend in front of him. He's not going to allow him to get any overlap into Druids there. He's really going to have to be properly side by side if you go and get an overtake through Druids, and Mansell rightly closing the door and not letting him through. As we see, Mateen's dropped to the back of this train. Was he at the back or in the middle? There is so much that's happened in this race. It is so hard to keep up.
No, Mateen's lost a spot to Warren just before. Mateen was sitting behind Mansell there before Damo had him at bay while he was still battling Justman in front of him. But, mate, unbelievable racing. But, I think Mateen, I'm going to guess as well, if I can, that it's probably been through the chicanes of Britons and Hislops. The Macca's just been... It's so hard to compete with the bounciness and stability of these bigger front-engine cars through those chicanes, particularly in the wet. So, probably just took a little bit too much curb either side. We may see. Oh, we're seeing this is a Kodak moment. Benny Higgins has got us a Kodak moment through the shell oil turn as we're watching there. As we said before, mate, I can't even remember what child's poem it is, but there's one where it's you can't go under it, you can't go over it, you can't go around it. You just got to go through it.
That?
I don't even know. I was going to say that like Goldilocks and the Three
that all
Bears,
night
but it's
now.
not, right?
Yeah, no.
Someone in the
definitely
chat.
Not that. It is. I've got the songs in my head now, but I couldn't tell you what it's from. I was more thinking like If Gap Car, but that's definitely not a child's poem or any nursery rhyme.
I don't think so.
As a kid.
Yeah, someone in the chat has to know what poem that is. Please pop it in there so that you can relieve Liam and I of just trying to like rack our brains of that all night. Surely, but we are back on board with Mansell, who for the last 54 minutes has been watching the back of this Ford Mustang. Oh my goodness, he must be so frustrated, but he is keeping it together, racing really, really well. What's your play here, Liam? So we've been watching this battle pretty much the entire race now. What's your play as Mansell? What are you doing? Where are you trying to get around? What kind of desperate move are you looking to make? Or maybe sit behind and just wait a touch. What's your play?
I sit behind and wait is the obvious call. That's kind of all you can really do at the moment. We've got 5 minutes left, so there's really only going to be probably 4 laps at most left in this race. It's just going to be try and sit as close as you can and put that big BMW grille in the mirror of the Mustang and just try and force him into a mistake. You can see they're weaving around the track just to show the nose, try and put him off anywhere. We're seeing it through Island Bend here that it is very easy just to run a little bit wide and move out of the way and escort yourself into the fence, but he's not been able to do that. So yeah, you're just going to have to try and show the nose and almost mind pump the driver ahead. That's about the only way you're going to be able to get past if they make some sort of mistake. As we see he is doing here, he's really sticking nice and close to the back of Jusman as we go up the hill of Hilltop into the Hislop chicane. Oh, as we see the Mustang just doing a little bit of a defensive move there, just trying to hold Mansell back, but yeah, it's not looking like there's going to be much. Oh, as we see they're getting side by side through just a little bit of a tiny overlap. He is trying so hard to get through. He's going to get a run here out of Knickerbocker. That is going to be. Oh, so
no, Mansell.
Yeah.
No, there's going to be a big stick. Damo's. That'll be head in hands level stuff. I talked about the desperation.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the other thing that you can do is you just get a little bit too aggressive and you just put the nose where it's not quite supposed to be, and unfortunately they're just being squeezed and running out of road, and we'll leave that one to the stewards. We do see a replay there. Mansell getting a mega run out of Knickerbocker there, and just that is really rough.
Tough.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to call. Mansell there just with the tiniest of overlap, and unfortunately there I think what's happened is as the track has gone left, the Mustang in front has gone even more left and just sort of run Mansell out of room. There was sort of an overlap, but yeah, I'm glad I'm not the steward's box to call that one.
Yeah, we've just seen Ben Curtis come in the chat with oh no, that's absolutely right, mate. And we've also seen there's a question that we have got in about the Xbox 360 logo on the side of a car. Absolutely, that is the car of Mike Rosser here. Usually a livery run by Dan Clark, but yes, it is the NFS style livery, Xbox 360 logo on the side. It's sick. But yeah, Mansell, it's a tough move. Like I said, we talked about that desperation earlier in the race, or literally just moments before. I'm not going to call it commentator's curse. I'm staying away from that. We're not going there. But yeah, mate.
That's a tough one. Absolutely right. At that point, if that's like lap 2 or 3, you're just going to lift out of that and live to fight another day. But with 2 or 3 laps left, you are absolutely never ever lifting out of that. Absolutely no chance at all keeping in there any form of overlap. As we see in Aston Martin, just kind of. That's going to be a big meeting with the barrier. Yeah. Looks like
it's gonna be a big team meeting that I wouldn't like to be a part of at the end of this race.
I think so. It's yeah. There's going to be some words at the end of this, and I'm not sure who's going to be directed to, but looks like just getting a bit of a bobble on track and hitting the grass and finding the wall himself. But yeah, I think Mansell. We're gonna have to see. The stewards are gonna have to work pretty quick to get that one through. But I think just a bit of desperation and a bit of a gap that's kind of not really open, but the door's been shut, and he's never lifting that anywhere near close to that. This close to the end of the race.
Yeah, too right. Mansell now in a little bit of clean room. Irrespective, has got the jump on Mateen there, but only 0.3 behind. Mansell with a bit of clean air, won't have too much damage from incident 4. We'll be looking to try and push that gap out as much as possible so that any penalty that he does receive in the next 2 minutes is going to be, as little as possible. But in saying that, Mateen now looking for anywhere around. The battle is right back on. Just when we thought we might get a breath in, Lamb, we're back on it. This is ridiculous now. We can't get away from the battles tonight. This battle pack has been so productive for us just to get an amazing, amazing race viewer in. So thanks so much, Benny Hignett, for streaming it for all of us and putting in the work to make this as watchable and enjoyable as it is now. We're on board with Zach Warren now, looking for any way past Mike Ross. Another Academy graduate here at OLR. Incredibly quick driver. Very clean, very consistent. Is laying down the law here at the moment. Not quite having to defend here come Druids. But we will be living, Zach Warren's presence will be living in the front of Mikey's mind there. We're going to get so tough here as we see the 222 Porsche, come looking for any room to try and show the nose, living in his right wing mirror now, not just the rear, showing everywhere, but not able to get anything up front straight. Mike Rosser there just driving so well.
Something to note as well is that Rosser does have a 10-second penalty, so realistically, as much as Warren wants to get in front of him on track, sometimes in a situation like this, it's better to just sit behind there and just stay close, and you're pretty much guaranteed to get that position once you all cross the line. So Zach Warren there doesn't really have to do anything. He's not really going to get ahead of Mateen or Mansell. So he's going to be better off just sticking behind there and just keeping his nose clean. As we've seen by many a car tonight, it's very easy to end up on the grass or in the fence.
Yeah, too right. Get your lolly bag and get out, I say. Just stay clean and, get what's coming to you. Mind you, we see Mateen not looking to wait around. Does get up the inside there of Mansell. Unbelievably good move there up the inside of Shell Oil's corner. Great work coming through the chicane here as we've got a blue flagged Lambo up the inside there. Out of the turn, he's clear. We've got the whole battle pack looking for a way around. You're going to need to get out of the way there, blue flag. We're going to see what they're disadvantaged coming into the chicane. Will drop a lot of time there on Rosser. But again, as long as he keeps within that 10 seconds, still has the position. So can't be too frustrated with that. But, poor outcome. Sometimes you just can't control where those blue flags come about.
Yeah, it did pretty well to move out of the way, and probably the best spot on the track you could actually get to catch that blue flag car. But as we can see, even though it was on a straight, he has kind of unfortunately just separated out this battle pack a little bit there as they're going across the line in a moment to start their final lap of the race. So there'll be one more left to go, and these drivers are going to end up probably super aggressive, I'd say, but they will definitely keep it clean. We want to see that. We want to see some clean racing until the end. But Marshy, unfortunately, I haven't had any party bags. I think Matt's just sort of living in his own little world there with some party bags. I would love it if he shared. Send a couple up my way would be amazing. But yeah, these guys are absolutely frothing the move. Oh, Mateen just getting a little bit wide, I think, there, and a little bit unsettled in that McLaren.
Oh, no!
Whoa! Totally across the line.
Oh, my God.
That is a finish. I think he may have done that on purpose, but
he's done that on purpose.
Coolly across the line. We're going to get Burrito Ellis to come back. Oh my God, he's got such a massive gap there. Cooley well and truly won that one by a long shot. I don't even think he broke a sweat with that one. As we see, this battle pack is still not over. These guys have spread out just a little bit there. It's kind of half a second or so, probably closer to a second gap between each one. Zach Warren still within that 10-second range to still await that position from Rosser with that 10-second penalty. Mansell up on the back of Mateen now, closing into the Hislop chicane as we see Bruno Ellis there across the line with P2 in the Audi. Nice cutaway from Mr. Hignett as we come through Knickerbrook. He's getting close, but he is unfortunately just running out of time to try and get this move done.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of comments to respond to here. We've just realised, I didn't realise that Harry Potato was Marshy. Hi, Marshy. No, you cannot have my lolly bag. It's mine. And then we've also got Kamaris is saying style points as we see Mansell move around the outside, defending like a lion on the there. Style points, so it's very expensive style points, but we have also got an update from Ben Curtis in the stewards box letting us know that the incident will be reviewed post-race with Mansell there on Justman there before that we just watched, but made an incredible race. Like, Holy cow, we've been going for the last hour watching basically 1 or 2 battle packs as we watch everyone come over the line now. Impressive liveries, looking great and stylish in this 8-year-old game, but so impressive to watch ACC, the racing it can produce. Unbelievable. And yeah, nearly 40-second gap, Kamaris. Insane and immense, the level of driving. I guess when you're forward and you're that far up the front, you're just completely, unchallenged there. Unreal driving from Curly. But we're going to go through here quickly. Top positions, obviously, read that. Almost a 40-second gap to Breno Ellis in the Audi R8, but then followed by Gia Coman rounding out our top 3. Over in silver class, as Benny Hignett clicks over, we've got Mateen taking the top spot. At the moment, we've got Mansell sitting there in second. We don't know what that penalty is going to be. We'll review that post-race and come back to you at a later date. But we've got Mike Rosser rounding out with a 10-second penalty, which does put Perkins, also 10-second penalty behind place. Going over to Pro-Am now, we've got McLeod and Simon and Pete Viney rounding out the top 3 there. Great racing from those guys. And then we've got Justman, who is not actually an AM, it's an ACC. It's a thing. It's a whole thing. But yeah. Liam, mate, oh my God, what a race. Wow. I came in here looking for a chill Thursday night, and here we are.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have to start talking about God knows what while everyone kind of just does their thing on track. But the rain absolutely spiced that one up and made for a very, very exciting evening. I hope everyone has enjoyed that who is watching at home there. An incredible job by those couple of cars in that battle pack to not only keep it clean between each other, apart from that slight incident there, which realistically, although the outcome wasn't amazing, is just the tiniest of moments. And apart from that, it's been super clean between that pack. Really close racing, probably staying within a second pretty much the whole night. And if I had to pick anyone, it'd be anyone in that battle pack is probably driver of the day. It's realistically too hard to call. Good job for the stewards as well, deciding there just to review that one post-race and give yourself time. I know being a steward myself, it's just want to rush and try and get the penalty out before the end of the race, but that one is gonna take a lot of reviewing, and I am very glad that I do not have to look at that one myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible racing from everyone. Thank you so much to everyone that makes OOR what it is today, particularly Thermaltake for sponsoring it. Massive, massive thank you to the one and only Benny Hignett, who, for the first time, I believe, has Rignet, the old spinny wheel there of the Thermaltake $50 giveaway. But, he got paid for the first time in his OOR career. So, hey, I know we said double time on Sundays there, Benny, but, we'll take $50 for now. So incredible job. Thanks so much for chaperoning our race tonight, making it so viewable. Liam Hamilton, thank you so much for sitting in the box here with me, talking smack, having a beer and enjoying a Thursday night of racing.
I couldn't think of anything better to do.
Agreed. That's indicative of our life status, but hey, it's fun. I'm kidding. Thank you so much, mate. Thanks to all the viewers and the commentators. Thanks to everyone that makes this amazing night, particularly those going off in the YouTube comments at the moment. Appreciate you all, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Goodbye.